So you listen to the blind Mike. There is clearly something wrong with you. This is Rickles. And why any of you waste your time with this jerk-off from Boston is beyond me. I have more talent in my beer farts. And oh, look at that. The show is produced by a demon today instead of a ginger dotard. That is a step up. And today's guest is being hunted by Tom Cruise and the rest of those magic underwear losers. And you bring him here. Are you nuts? Now I'm gonna have to go clear to get rid of these losers. Anyway, if you are still here, you are a better man than me. Here is your host, a man who would never find that Lego you needed to finish the set. Blind Mike. Kiri.
I'm flattered. I'll say Rickles seems to be a big fan of the show. He knows a lot of inside references, but he sounds British almost, which is a little weird. Good to have Rickles on board, finally. We've been trying to get him for a while. Today's episode will be very interesting. As you see, I'm alone here for now. But as Mr. Rickles mentioned, it won't be for long. I'm curious. Guys, let me know in the comments your feedback on this episode. It's of crucial importance because today, first of all, filling in, Craig Coney is on assignment. He's getting... the show is finally sponsored by Bud Light, and Craig will be transitioning, but more on that later. And today, filling in his stead, I guess we will only hear this man's voice, but it's Hack Ride. What's up, buddy?
What is going on, Blind Mike?
Right,
it's okay. It was 1 second of a mistake. I pressed the wrong button. I cragged out on that one. Oh, how are you doing, Blind Mike? It is a pleasure to meet you.
It's a pleasure to have you, buddy. This is weird because I've been able to convince myself that Hack Ride is just some psychopath that we have cutting clips for us. And before the show, I talked to the man. Hack Ride's
the host.
Your
host
handler?
of the demon.
Is that right? Okay.
Yes, he is the host. Every demon needs a host. He is my host.
Okay. All right. So this is going to be weird. I don't know if I'm going to be able to have a conversation with you today.
Oh, let's discuss war and peace.
You see, every response you get, I'm going to make a serious point about John Melendez, and I'm going to get this voice back. It's going to be tough to deal with. So I wanted to also bring in an Earthling, if that's okay.
It is more than okay. This is one hell of an Earthling you invited.
So I've done this guy's show, and I thought we had a nice rapport. I'm sure this episode will get taken down because he's being manhunted right now. The powers that be, the Illuminati is going to strike this episode from existence. But hey, we've got drops finally. That's fun. Already doing better than Craig.
Baba Booey.
It doesn't apply, but okay. Zero Dark Tony is joining us as well. What's going on, buddy?
Hey, how you doing, guys? Hey, you got Rickles, and I've been trying to get Rickles for a while. I don't know how you did that. I need some of your contacts.
It's a big deal. It's a big deal, and of course, I needed two men, or a man and a demon, to fill the shoes of Craig Coney. So let's see if either of you have what it takes today. But
well, thank you for having me on, and it's very nice to meet the Dark Lord himself. I have had some experience with some of your minions lately. Thank you.
How familiar are you with my show, Tony?
I'm a fan of the Blind Mike Project.
Okay, all right. So you're aware when you're talking to a guy and all of a sudden a demon is speaking to us from the underworld, you're not weirded out by that. You knew that
Par for the course, baby.
Okay, all right, good. Thank God.
Always on the
He has been in Scientology. He understands.
Yes.
As I mentioned about the month of August, we are seeing only the strong will survive here on the Blind Mike Project. If you're around by September, it means you're a true fan of this show because you suffered through last week's episode. I was impressed with the amount of people that commented and actually got through the Tom Myers and the Magician and Michelle Wojciechowski and all these people. So I appreciate you guys sitting through. And then today, I have no idea what the show is going to be. So if you have made it through all of this and you want to support the program, I would suggest you go to blindmike.net. That's where you can support the show for free, whether it be this show, Why Are You Laughing, or Who Are These Socials. All the links are at blindmike.net. So you can go leave us a 5-star review or comment, whatever you do. YouTube, same thing. Subscribe on YouTube. Tap the notification bell for updates. Comment, like, all that helps the algorithm, helps get new eyeballs on us. And if you want, you can join the Patreon. We have YouTube memberships available as well. But if you subscribe to the Patreon, You get multiple bonus episodes of Why You Laughing every single month, as well as the free episodes a week early. You get episodes like this when we pre-record Blind Mike Project. You get that before anyone else. We watch Quincy on there and all kinds of wacky stuff. So go to blindmike.net to support the show, and we appreciate it. So
if I could insert a quick reference in here,
yes,
you know what to do.
God.
You know what
Exactly.
to do.
That's exactly right. Hack Ride, I mean, has skyrocketed past Craig with the drops already. That's not even a
Treat me like
question.
a
I don't know
naughty
what's
boy.
taking Craig so long to master that, but got to be up at 6 a.m. again to be trans. I don't know if I love the drops of me, but that's okay. That one's appropriate.
That was a good one.
God, this guy's good. He's stealing Craig's job before our eyes. It's very exciting. And before we get into our other shit, Tony, where can people find you?
Oh, just Zero Dark Tony across the board, you know. YouTube, Rumble, what else? Facebook.
You one of those guys on
Rockfin,
Rumble because the man is coming
Odyssey.
after you now?
Well, you know, you like to get on there sometimes, and you like to cut loose a little bit. You have to have you know, your Sunday best when you're on YouTube. I mean, you can get a little crazy, you know, but you got to treat it like any wedding. You don't want to get to the point where you get thrown out.
And follow Hack Ride on YouTube as well. Get Hack Ride to 1,000 so we can start going live. And you're doing, so let me get this straight, Hack Ride. By the
Yes.
time people are hearing this, your show will be up, right?
Yes, go and watch, as you watch this, last night's Puzzle Box with Hack Ride and Krista, as it had
Puzzle.
already aired. Yes,
And
it is
what
a
is- what-
puzzle box.
What's Puzzle Box going to be? Well, give me the gist.
It is a potpourri of nonsense, honestly. The stuff that you say no to, the stuff that I think about that has no home. And it is introducing a good friend of mine, Krista, who has 20 years in radio working at various places like KLSX in Los Angeles. So she has stories of Tom Leykis, Howard Stern, Jonathan Brandmeier. And so that will be part of the show as well. Old school radio talk. Fun.
Tom Leykis.
So, Hack Ride, let me have, before
It
we
is
get into our
Flash Friday.
before we get into our stuff here today, let me ask you, what's your relationship like with me? Because I talk about you on the show and I portray my side of things, how I interpret our messages and things. Well, where do we stand here?
I love you, Blind Mike. I always have.
Well,
Since you accepted my request to do free work for you, I have always loved you.
Since
Well,
you have signed his offer.
Yes. Yeah,
Yes.
you really made yourself valuable to me in the free.
It is
aspect
not
of
the
it.
200,000 year offer that Zero Dark Tony is used to, but it is close.
That's $1 billion years, sir. It's $1 billion.
It's $1 billion. I'm sorry. I am off on my Phaeton knowledge.
Ooh, there you go.
But Hackrad, what do you think when I say, like, when I talk about your tone with me? I'm sort of like a battered wife. Do you understand that at all? Do you understand that you really give me the business in these DMs?
Yes, I understand, but I also understand that Twitter lacks context.
Okay.
So a lot of the time when you speak, I know you're not yelling at me, even though the words appear that you are.
Okay.
It
The
is
nuance,
more,
yeah.
yes, it is more a subtle thing that you learn over time, that this person is not always angry, that they
Yes.
are direct and get to the point.
Right.
So I learned
Like,
that quickly about you.
When Hackrad suggested that my girlfriend was working me with puppet strings from
Oh.
behind the scenes, I asked him about that, and he's like, "What the fuck? Obviously, I'm joking." And I was like,
Yes.
okay, calm down. It's okay."
Yes. And you did admit it wasn't her, but I still have my doubts that someone in your orbit is not a fan of the demon, but it doesn't matter. You are, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's unlikely this episode will get any negative comments at all. I think people are really gonna love it, and I
It's a
think they're
real
gonna show that in
weekend
the
at
comments.
Bernie's without the strings kind of thing.
Yeah. Hack Riders, come out in the comments, show yourself, and maybe we'll get rid of Craig if it goes well.
Yes. That is not the goal, though. I love Craig. Craig laughs harder at Hack Ride than anyone. So to lose Craig would be to lose a big fan and also a big man. I don't want to lose either.
That would be tough.
Yes.
All right, so let's get. Well, first, I want to get into Stuttering John a little bit. We haven't talked about Stuttering John.
Yes, let
all
me
this-
go back
all
and
this month.
produce the show. I will leave you, Zero Dark Tony, to talk about Stuttering John. I will be in the back if you need me. Ask.
All
Okay.
right, just have
All
that
right, thank you.
paperwork ready, and I'll sign that a little later. Thanks.
All right. So Tony, tell me, because I want to get into Stuttering John, like I said, but you were telling me before the show, and I said save it for the air because I don't have a clue what's happening with Kevin Brennan. Hackrad, you can pipe in if you want as well. You can pipe in all day, by the way. You don't have to announce yourself. But what's going
I'm
on with
back.
Kevin Brennan? There's some controversy now with him and Drew. If I can make a guess, and I know nothing about this, I'm going to guess Kevin's really, really angry about something, and he's going to say that he's done with some person, and in a few days that's probably going to change. Is that about right?
Well, what I see is what are we in a submarine?
I'm getting answers correct. I think
Oh,
he's
okay.
checking.
That is correct answers. Yes.
Oh, okay. So one ping only.
Yes. Okay.
So what I see is, and this is funny because part of this is in part of your backyard, right? So we've got Carl, who paid some money to John, right? Offered some money to John. Kevin comes in because this was John's big comeback show. Carl's been putting in a lot of time.
Okay,
doing a lot
this
of
part
work
I
on the
know.
show,
The whole
right?
Kevin versus
Okay.
Carl feud that I know.
So then
He's
Kevin,
giving context.
yeah, just give a little background here. So Kevin comes in, and Kevin seems to be someone who walks in the room with a flamethrower, right?
Yeah.
And he just starts popping it off. If I'm not mistaken, he's a bit cranky, older Irish fella,
Yep.
like the hat you have. Okay, so
This is Tom Myers inspired, but continue.
okay, so Kevin Brennan and now has had an event in Atlantic City at the Borgata, right? Now the whole controversy came when Shuli, right? And it's kind of like, to me, it's watching when, let's say you go to a zoo and it's time to feed like the lions and they just throw the meat
Sure.
in the thing. That to me is what Stuttering John seems to be. He's like that product that everybody wants that piece of.
Sure. So was that thing in Atlantic City a disaster? I was on WATP Saturday and I never followed up. Was that just a debacle or?
Well, I don't know if as many people showed up, but to me, when I saw some of the lives, I saw some of the Nobody Likes Onions. I saw Patrick streaming from there.
Okay.
They seem to be having a fine time.
Good for them.
And with a lot of the stuff that Patrick talks about, it has stirred up the pot. And now apparently Bob Levy, as a result of a lot of this controversy, has just left MLC. So
Oh no!
Yeah.
I
So
hope
now we're in a position where we
I
got
hope
no
he hasn't
Bob.
left
Yeah.
too long, Tony.
I don't know what to tell you. It's a real cliffhanger.
I guess we'll have to tune in to find out. What a mystery.
I mean, I'm right
What
on the
the
edge,
fuck?
like, oh my goodness, what's Bob gonna do?
I
just want to go sit in my pool.
I would be very surprised. This will be up on Patreon Friday, and it'll be up on YouTube on Sunday. I'd be surprised by one of those droppings if Bob Levy hasn't already made his big return to MLC.
I have a feeling one of them by Friday will no longer be with us. Let's just say
Oh,
that.
you guys are not paying attention close enough. Let me come in off the top ropes with the knowledge.
Bring some.
This is over. MLC, as you knew it, is over. Bob Levy
Don't
has
tell me that.
chosen. Bob Levy is off the fence. It has happened.
He's in the
Once-
Shuli yard.
He is in the Shuli yard. Shuli has made some deals, more lucrative deals, and Kevin's super chats have been drying up since his battle with Carl, and so this was an inevitability. It only happened now because Kevin got the money from Patreon and YouTube and was going to have to pay Bob and decided, fuck Bob, I'm not going to pay him. So this really comes down to
That's
an
right.
artist not being paid by someone. And so now anyone who goes on the Kevin Brennan show is a scab and does not deserve the respect of a human being, because until Bob Levy gets his money that he is owed, no one should go on that show.
He docked him $1,000 or something.
He docked him $1,000 for the John episode when John was on, even though Bob had no idea that was going on. And then he docked him the entire last month. Kevin just got the
Oh,
check
okay,
from
this is-
YouTube
Wow.
and says, "You are fired. I am not paying you. Take me to court." Kevin is a bitch. Kevin is the biggest bitch in this whole universe.
Okay, this
I
changes
thought it was
things for
just.
me.
I
Maybe
thought it
this
was
is
just
not
a grand. Wow.
No, he is gone. And then he comes on his show immediately and calls Bob's wife a worthless cunt. And then he goes after his children immediately. Like, he hates Chad and says Chad does all this stuff. And then 5 seconds after Bob says I quit, he goes after his wife and children mercilessly. Kevin Brennan is bile.
Yeah, that's the type of shit I don't understand and I don't like, where like Chad is willing to go down to those levels and Kevin seems like a guy like that. And honestly, ironically, John is a guy like that. Like John is a guy who will talk shit about people's
Gay ops.
families, people's wives. Like the idea that he brought. I know Carl's wife is on the show from time to time, but she's not a ton, and she's not like an insanely public figure or anything. So the idea that John started saying shit about Carl's wife and her being a beard and him cheating on her and all this
You
stuff.
haven't even heard the worst of it yet, Mike. That
Oh,
was
tell
the
That's
hors
the
d'oeuvre.
icing. That's not the cake. Yeah.
Oh,
The main, and this is why it is over. This is the main course. So after he
Please.
goes after his family, he sees that he is being snipe streamed by Shuli and Bob. So, this makes him angry. Kevin is even redder than usual, and this makes him grab for the dagger. The worst thing that you can do to another old man. He says, I am going to report you to the IRS, Bob. I know that you hide money, Bob. I know that you use your wife to hide money, Bob. Bob is going to jail. I will make sure. I'm going to send Chad to jail too. I will call the IRS on everyone because I am a red weirdo named Kevin Brennan. That is the facts.
oh, what a scumbag! Even if he doesn't
Yes.
do it, to threaten that is
Wow.
kind of a scumbag
That is some
move.
shitty stuff, man.
Yes. So Bob is off the fence.
Oh, well, good
That
for
is
Bob.
what you call gay ops, my friend.
Okay.
gotta say,
Shall not
not-
go produce.
not to stray from the conversation here, but Hack Ride again coming with more information than Craig usually has.
Really?
This is very delightful to me.
Brought
I'm
it
sorry,
home.
I might be checked out of the show just fantasizing about Hack Ride producing full time.
Well, the diapers I change are on YouTube. The diapers Craig's change are in real life, so I will give him credit for that. Although
Alright,
John
that's fair.
and Kevin's diapers are more messier sometimes, so. All right.
You know, I always find that so shitty when people just go right for the, like, what's that even going to do? So you can't answer, you don't have a valid reply. Then what do? You go for, people that have nothing to do with it, which has been happening to me. It happens to me left and right, especially in my situation lately. I mean, I could totally relate to this.
Yeah.
Of these attacks that are brought on by creators. And they don't even have to do it directly anymore. It could be a dog whistle, right? It could just be
Yeah.
like, hey, what a lot of the things that Kevin says, this guy's a piece of shit, that guy's a piece of shit, right? So now Brennan's people naturally to defend him are going to go to those channels, start attacking in the comments, causing problems, wanting to dox people,
You are a fortune teller, Zero Dark Tony, of a war is brewing and has broken out between the fans of MLC and the Shuli Network. And I am right in the middle, and it is glorious.
It's
Are there
crazy, the shots that
fans? Are
fired.
there fans of MLC?
Oh,
are there
yes.
fans of
Got
that
'em.
show?
Oh, yes, Blind Mike. That is like asking all their children who have terrible fathers. Yes, and what do they do when they grow up? They find MLC, and they relive their experience over and over, being ignored. And
Oh, you froze up on Sack Ride. But I guess, Mike, I'm asking more Carl has listeners of his show. I picture all the MLC fans are fans of these other shows that pop in to get Kevin riled up and read their super chats and shit. I can't imagine people being like, I gotta watch MLC. I gotta watch this man read the YouTube comments today.
I
There is
don't
much-
know
that's
what
not a
the
show
super
to
chats are. Yeah, it's really not. There's no. They turn on the camera. They start reading. It's let's get on with this. First of all, this dude's 12-year-old gaming headset. The fuck is that?
Right.
Like he sounds horrible. It looks horrible. You would figure that after a little bit of time and working with someone like Adam, they would have a little bit better of a look, something better sounding, and not actually use Wi-Fi. He's always talking about, how about Ethernet cables? Do you have any of those? Like, just plug right in, man. You'll have no problems. So
Adam is like the pretty girl in the Munsters. He just does not fit.
It doesn't make
Maryland.
sense to me to look like, hey, if you're making money, do what you got to do. Absolutely. Just if you're looking at it both as an entertainer and a businessman, it doesn't make sense as an entertainer to be like, here's the content I'm going to give my fans or my viewers is me staring at a screen and reading what the fans say, what the people who aren't creative, what they say. I want to just read someone say, Negro, whatever the fuck the names they put in. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
as an entertainer, it doesn't make sense. But then also as a businessman, I would look at it and say, well, it's not going to be sustainable. How many times is David Chandler gonna send me $50.
Right.
You know what I mean? How many times could he possibly do it? And when he's done it to me, I always appreciate. I appreciate everyone that super chats this show. And by the way, we're not live, guys, so don't
Yeah,
do
no.
it today.
Chandler is a great supporter of the medium.
Right. Right. And I very much appreciate guys like that. But what
Mhm.
I hate is when guys like Kevin and John will read the chat and go, nah, you know what? Fuck the people giving me $2.
Right.
I'm not gonna read the people giving me $2. You cheap fuck. Like John will literally say, you cheap fucks. And it's like, John, these people don't owe you money. They're going out of their way to give you money and hope that you say the fucking sentence that they typed along with their donation. Like these are donations. So the idea of shitting on it is really wild to me. And it's just like if you're looking at it from a show, you know, how long is Kevin going to do this podcast for 10 more years? I can't imagine.
Well, you know, a lot of the things that it seems like he's attempting very much on the red bar side of things, you know, and Patrick Melton, people who can get away with literally just insulting the audience and it becomes part of the show.
But Red Bar is a good broadcaster.
Yeah.
Kevin, I think Kevin's funny, and I think when he's busting balls with guys that he respects or shitting on people that he you know has contempt for, like Chad or Ray DeVito or whoever, I think he can be funny. But like Red Bar knows how to run a show.
Right.
The guy does fucking 6 hour long, or at least he used to. I don't know if he still does, but he would do like 6-8 hour long streams and keep it interesting throughout. Where Kevin's just saying, here's what, you know, fucking Bob's saggy nuts is saying in the chat.
Well, you
like,
have
it's not broadcast.
You also have to have a little production value, a little bit of, you know, you gotta, can you hear that?
No.
Okay. Like I have drops and stuff, and
but guys, imagine if you heard a drop right there.
Right. It was the SVU thing, very simple one. But imagine if someone like that took a little bit of effort towards their production. Like give your audience something back. If you're making all this dough, buy a microphone.
Right.
You know, buy a headset, right? Let the audience know that, because, you know, whenever I get anything from my audience, it goes right back into production, you know?
Yeah. And I mean, it's not Kevin's fault that people are like, if people are donating money, obviously he should accept it and everything. I just think if you're putting together a show and bitching at your fans, like saying, fuck these super chats that are less than X amount of dollars. It's like, these people owe me $0. The idea that anyone subscribes to my Patreon or subscribes on YouTube or super chats us or whatever is incredibly humbling to me. I think it's very generous, the idea that they're doing that. Like, so to shit on that is disgusting, I think, as someone that's consuming podcasts.
For sure.
And it's why I honestly hate shows like, I think like Nick Mullen is a podcasting genius. And like, I think what he did with Come Town and now the Adam Friedland show is like pretty impressive. But I've heard those guys say forever that they're like bilking their audience and they're mailing it in and all, and they, like, you know, shit on the generalized version, like the incel type of guys that a lot of their audience is, the stereotype of their audience. They shit on that. And it makes me, as a consumer of their content, kind of say like, well, fuck these guys. Why am I supporting them?
Well, it's all a wave, you know, and when we all know if it bleeds, it leads, right? So if you got negative, you got drama, people want to see this stuff, you know. There's not much General Hospital on, you know, Channel 5 anymore, right? So people have that innate thing. At least people who are involved in social media, they like a little bit of that soap opera type thing, and that's really that similar.
And listen,
vibe.
I'm on a show twice a week, the Kirk Minahan show, that like Kirk will shit on the audience, but I think everyone's aware it's to an extent tongue in cheek, and then he'll go the other way where he's like, they're the greatest fans in the world. And he puts on amazing events and makes sure they're not overly priced and all this. So he clearly does respect his fans. You're allowed to shit on the fans, but there's an element of like, at least let them know you somewhat respect them.
Right.
And maybe that's what that Atlantic City event was, but I didn't hear many reviews of it.
Well, you know, from what I saw, some of the live stuff and some of the, you know, stories and reports that have come back from there is that, you know, not only did they have a decent time, it's sort of, some people were saying that Patrick was creating a lot of the drama, and then That I don't see at all, right? These guys have been eating each other's flesh for months, slowly chewing on it, right? So when that event kind of was, I think, good for them all maybe to get together and spend a little time in a room together, because I think if Atlantic City maybe didn't happen, this would have already escalated to a point where somebody's going to have a problem. You know what I mean? Like there's going to be legal issues because these guys just keep escalating, you know?
Right.
They don't know how to de-escalate. It's the same thing that's
one
happened
side
with
one side keeps
nut bars.
escalating for sure.
Yes.
Well, that's ultimately what happened with Opie and Anthony is like you create this environment of toxicity and then it turns on you eventually. Like what happened with the Opie and Anthony subreddit, it was the ugliest thing I've ever seen from any fan base. Like it was people that were diehard fans of this show that ended up eating each other alive and attacking the hosts and everything. I think that's what happens when you build an exclusively toxic environment, when it's all toxic and never the other way. And I feel like that's kind of what Kevin's building. Now, I don't know if you know this, Tony. He doesn't care for what I think because I'm a blind guy. And, you know, I think a funny thing to say about me is that...
What did he say about you?
Well, it's funny. It's interesting.
Did he shit on you? I would like to know.
I don't see particularly well. I have a tough time reading a room.
Oh, hey now.
Yeah.
See what he did there?
Yeah. It wasn't funny the first few times. And now I've repeated that joke 80 times, so it's even funnier to me now.
Yes.
Well, you actually have a sense of humor. So that's the gift that, you know, we all get, is to be able to laugh at shit. If you can't laugh at yourself, get off the fucking internet.
Well, and I had to do that. I took a 3-month break from podcasting and the internet and everything because I was not reacting to it well. And I feel like, I honestly, I think it's the smartest thing Stuttering John ever did is to remove himself. Like if he wasn't handling it well, he removed himself for 8 months. Now, what makes him a fucking moron is that he said, I can't handle this. And then immediately came back and did a show where he's just reading super chats and arguing with them from people who hate him.
Yes.
My favorite was when he was on, what is it, MSCS or whatever the hell that was?
Yes, Tony.
Wasted, right?
Yeah. With the alien, yes.
Right? And he gets up there and he goes, let me tell you something, Tommy.
Yeah. Oh, I love when he gets serious.
He's like, Howard never, he said he didn't give a fuck about my career.
I love Serious John when he's like, you don't want to do that, do you, Baba Booey? Oh, you don't want no part of this brain. Like this menacing. He thinks because he hung out with who is it, John Gotti Jr. that he hung out with?
Right.
Yeah, so he thinks he's a mobster now.
Right. I know a lot of people, Tommy.
Like, my daddy was an engineer, so I'm smart too. It's in the DNA.
You know, it kind of rubbed off on me, Tommy. I knew everything he knew, but better.
I'm trying to think of who your impression sounds more like. It is very mob movie-esque. Yours.
Well, that was when John was wasted out of his mind.
Yeah.
On there, he was slow, like drooling out of his face.
It's well now
he's very juicy.
Let's get into it. Enough setting this bit up.
Yeah, let's start hitting some balls.
I'm late to the party here. This is it was on. The reason I'm playing a lot of these clips today is because I was on Who Are These Podcasts last week, and we didn't get to some of these. I'm surprised Carl wasn't more intrigued by some routes that John took, because I think it's directly related to Carl. So I figured we'd break these down. So where are we starting here, Hack Ride? This was the day after. So for those of you that missed it, John went on with Carl about almost 2 weeks ago at this point, and basically said, this is it. This is my last hurrah. I'm going to do battle with Carl, and I'm going to step away forever and go back to teaching.
His swan song.
Exactly, yes. So long, folks. This world ain't for Johnny anymore.
Yeah,
But a lot happens in 36 hours. You know, a lot can change. A man changes in that amount of time.
Who is this fella on the right? Who's DG?
He is the worst. We're going to get to DG.
Okay.
He's the worst.
Oh, boy.
I don't mean, listen, we've covered plenty of bad you can say what you want about me as a broadcaster. There are plenty of broadcasters out there that are bad. when I say Dave is a horrendous broad, it's just it's milk toast. It's the most bland, banal statements. He's boring. He's got the charisma of an old tennis shoe.
Is he just one of the guys who just wants to be nice for being nice sake because he thinks you're supposed to be nice?
I guess so, but I also get the sense he's scheming something out of John. He has intentions that are
Well, look
Yes,
at
he
his
is,
face.
perhaps.
he
Well,
is
I mean,
selling
that
his
might-
brother's book. That is his scheme. He is a nice man, Dave. Let's not beat on him too hard.
Really?
He is-
Oh, Hackrat is a friend. I'm sorry.
yes, he is a friend. He has helped me on the Joe C show.
He's
I
a
will
great
not-
guy. Then I'm sorry.
He is
DG is a great
perfect.
guy now.
Well, he's a perfect man to have at the end of a Zoom call. I don't know about this online thing though, but he is a great man, and that is all I'll say. Now
All
continue.
right, so where are we starting with these clips?
I'm
Hackrat?
just reading his face, and I feel like I need to watch my wallet.
Hackrat.
Sorry, Mike Walker is where we are starting.
Okay, yeah. So this was
Oh,
one
I
of
like
his
Mike
big.
Walker.
This was one of his big bones of contention. Carl's point. I guess Mike Walker wrote something in his book, basically saying that Jay Leno, when he realized the deal they had made with John, was furious because the people at the Tonight Show thought they were getting this brilliant mind, the mind behind Howard Stern's red carpet questions. All
Yeah,
those
that's right.
famous bits with Ringo Starr and Tommy Lasorda and countless others. They thought they were getting the mind behind that when they brought John on. Turns out they weren't. Jackie, Fred, and Howard wrote most, if not all, of those questions. And so Mike Walker wrote in his book that Jay Leno was furious when he realized all this.
Well,
And-
just a little context for Mike Walker there. I don't know if you guys were listeners of the Stern Show when Mike Walker would actually come on and do something called the Mike Walker game, right? Where
Yeah,
he
so
would
Howard
guess which one was
respected him
right.
at least somewhat. So
Some
National
journalistic
Enquirer,
integrity, yeah.
they had a lot of sensational headlines. All of them probably weren't accurate. But Carl's point was Mike Walker has to be somewhat truthful because if a lot of the shit that he said, if there was no truth to it, he'd be sued into oblivion
Exactly.
for defamation. So John really ran with this bit and attacked Carl for this.
You claim that what you read about me from Mike Walker, the perennial bullshit artist, editor of the National Enquirer, happened to be factual information about my Tonight Show experience. David, I'm going to
Those
ask
liver spots on his head. What are those on his head?
On John's head?
Yeah, on John.
Oh, God only knows what strain of some rare disease, leprosy, or who knows what John has encountered.
Just another quick notice right out of the gate is that Mike Walker is actually Mike Walker. It's not. He's doing the air quotes. With his head. Yeah,
Carlos
he's
pointing this
around
out.
Mike
I always
Walker.
miss them, unfortunately.
Yeah.
I can't say, but yeah,
Yeah.
he doesn't know what Mike Walker. It's like in his mind, it
Exactly.
means like, I guess it means like as if that's anybody. Like Mike Walker's not famous, but that's not what air quotes are. I don't know why he's using them that way.
I think he's trying to open a portal to the story when he does this. When he
Mike
does the
Walker
air
even
quotes.
exists.
Yeah, I don't even think it's air quotes. I think it's some kind of a magic that we're missing.
All right, so we heard John set up. Now, I've studied John Melendez. A very astute observation here. When he says things to his guest, like, Dave, I ask you. I think John already had his mind made up on what the answer is going to be. So let's hear it.
who do you think would be more experienced on what transpired with my hiring at the Tonight Show? Me or the National Enquirer? Who would you say?
Which he bought for the episode.
I gotta say, you probably
Dave
would
is
have
so
to be a
bad.
better source of information.
Thank you. So, I will tell you the real story, but let's get into what Carla said.
Hold on, pause
Oh.
a second. So the idea that John would know, like to say, like if Kirk Minahan talked to a reporter and was like, I really thought we were going to get more out of Mike. Like he sucks on the show. I hate him. I wish we never hired him, which he said on the show before. So he doesn't need to talk to a reporter, but hypothetically. If you were to say that to some reporter, you couldn't then go to me and say, well, don't you think I would know if secretly people didn't want me there? No, of course not. You'd be the last person to find out.
Right. It would happen by accident if you found out.
Yes. They say these things behind your back, John.
Right.
John doesn't understand that people will talk behind his back. Like, honestly, the people in that chat that he calls liars and hypocrites, those are the only people in his life being truthful to him 100% of the time.
You ever wonder, John, why all the doors were closed at the Tonight Show?
Why you were in the fifth row of the
Well,
audience?
yeah. All the doors in the back are closed while you're in the building.
All right, let's finish this out.
You know, they didn't get the guy they hired, you know, and all of this and everything, right? That was his premise. And I said, well, let me see. When I got divorced, let me see if I can find that article. When I got
Good example
divorced,
coming.
they claimed that Susanna could that Beth wrote Susanna off because I left.
Why is she Susanna now?
you know,
and she's Susanna before. What
Stern
happened?
Show, right?
I believe that was the article did say that.
Yes.
Why does Dave,
Well-
Ackroyd, you're his best friend. You might have some insight into this. Why does Dave always talk like he's giving John legal counsel? Like he's
He
on
is
the
a con-
stand for the fucking I believe, Senator, yes, I believe that is correct.
He titles himself the consigliere of the Joey C Network. So I think it is in that answer. He sees himself as the man, behind John, behind Kevin. He's the man next to the man. So he can't be super interesting, you understand? Or it
John
outshines the
Melendez
man.
says this. John Melendez says that.
Yes.
It was all lies.
DG will be
Consigliere.
Putin's right-hand man.
You want a fresh
Mr.
one?
Pantangeli.
Will you please tell Frankie Five Angels? You're gonna be just fine, Frankie Five Angels. You know what the old Romans used to do?
All right. Was there more to that?
The truth of the matter is, David,
Uh-oh.
is my wife.
Not what I'm
Oh,
about
here
to
it is. Here it is. Look at that. Seek and the Lord will provide. Hold on. I'm gonna
It'll
see if
only
I can
take me
blow it up
40
so we can
minutes.
see it. So I don't know if we can read it, but this was. I don't know how I could pull the whole thing up. Let me see. if I
God
can
forbid you
read
have
it.
your evidence
Looking at the
prepared.
thing in full screen here. Bear with me. Let me.
Don't have the show ready or anything.
This is the only time I have ever had empathy for stuttering.
Let me see if I can get it. I can't seem to get it in full screen. I don't know why.
He is just
Oh
there's
yeah,
a
Carla.
lot
That's
going on
probably
in
because
his
I'm
mouth.
not. Okay. So here we go. Let's share the screen.
Here's my
okay?
frosting gun.
Hold on, let me stop this one, and then let's go to my divorce. Now,
Listen to him
Carla.
vamping, trying to find it.
here is my divorce. Can you see
And
Ah,
let me
it?
yes.
tell you, I went
Yep.
to the Yankees game.
There it is. Now I don't think I could read it, but
It's readable.
Melendez.
It's
Okay.
legible.
That's
What?
fine.
There's a corporate Dave again. It's all legible there, John. Actually, if I'm going, yes, Your Honor, I do believe that is legible.
Seriously, I mean, he pulls up the article. Where did he even get that hard copy of the National Enquirer? Did he have that? Are they still for sale? What he held
Oh,
one up. Where'd he get it?
John collects everything, John.
That's a
saw
good
this-
point. Yeah,
I
it's
saw this one-
probably the actual one they wrote about him.
Yes,
Well,
no,
I-
it was yellow. The paper was yellow, like it had been stored in a location with damp other things for a long time.
I saw a retweet of a photo that he had that was in some kind of frame behind glass on Twitter. I don't know. It was a picture with a celebrity or something. Literally looked like cocaine was dusted all over the thing, and he just sort of brushed it off to take the picture
was a rock
of the
star.
picture. Yeah.
Yes,
Here's a
That
picture of
is
this
Nick.
Polaroid.
yes. Nikki Sixx did cocaine off this, so I will never wash it. This is a famous Nikki Sixx this line, and other people did other lines. I can't remember. I was too high.
Now
I
here's
stole
why
it
I'll
from
never wash
Morton
my
Downey
carpet.
Jr. set.
All right. Now, if I remember correctly, Heckrod, you probably don't like the title of this next clip, right?
Yeah, it is an opinion.
Well, it's another example of our pal Dave.
What's his point? Like, I mean, I thought with most of it I thought there was some okay back and forth in that interview, but I mean, what's his point? I'm just curious. Like, honestly, what do you think his point is talking about your divorce? I mean, he's just trying to make a point that you guys broke up because of the whole going over to Saturday Night. Or
Land the
Night
plane,
Show.
Dave. Let's get there.
Let's get in there.
Is that his point?
Run out of fuel.
I'm sorry, Dave.
Is that his
John's
point?
mystified.
Oh my God.
The fuck are you talking
get
about?
showing that, maybe I'm being a little bit too. Maybe I'm thinking about it too much. But like, his point in bringing up all this was to prove what?
Because he was saying that Mike Walker, the editor of the Inquirer, the same guy who gave us this wonderful story. Hold on. The same guy. Hold on. I'm finding it. Where is it?
Boy.
Why not have these ready? It's fine.
The same
It's
guy
fine.
that gave us.
Tabs. Open a tab.
It's fine to do, like, we'll do stuff on the show and I'll vamp for a minute while Craig looks for something, or I'll bust Craig's balls for not having something ready, whatever. Like, it's fine to do that. It can't be your whole show. When the show's intention, it would be like if this show, instead of playing clips of Stuttering John, I was Googling the word Stuttering John and trying to read it from this distance.
I mean, it is so close to dead air. It really is. It's just right there on the same. It's on the same thing. When you are just vamping because you're ill prepared. Now, things happen. You might have a glitch. Things might happen in the software, whatever. You got to be prepared for that. As a self-produced show, I understand what can happen, but man, he is really taking a long time.
Even when he pulls it up, he's like, it's not readable, but still you get the gist.
I mean, I don't know how to zoom in, if you know what I mean. He just talks into the microphone. Camera, zoom, enhance.
Go ahead, Hackrod.
Story. The coronavirus cures finally found. And warning, surgical masks
I actually believe
spread
that, by the way.
infection.
There are
Bigfoot
people
kept
who
Lumberjack
literally-
as a love slave? What?
Yes,
But
we
that's
have
his-
dropped. We're missing the lead. That is the lead right there.
That's the one. Jesus. Whoa.
We got to pay more attention to this COVID story, for Christ's sake.
looking at this right now, probably in the chat or in the audience, who are saying that at least those two things are possibly true. Like,
Yes. Miracle.
John has placed Dave on the pay no mind list. This is what's rude. Now, listen. No one respects Dave less than me in the podcasting world. But what's
Now watch
incredibly... Dave's, I'm sure he's a great guy.
It's marvelous. These are a lot of guns.
Then he's a terrific guy. He's very...
That he always talks about.
He's very quick, Dave. I like him, and he gets right to the point, and he says controversial things. He has hot takes on things.
His head takes up a lot of the frame.
But what's amazing about John, and he does this to our friend, the Army Major, all the time. He's so rude to Richard Ojeda, and it's very frustrating to watch because the co-host or sidekick or whatever he is, someone that John has invited on, will say something, make a point, ask a question. And to Dave's credit, again, Dave, great broadcaster, I asked a question, a somewhat legitimate question. To be fair, my intentions were somewhat impure. But we did an episode of Why You Laughing coming out soon with Drew Lane from the Drew and Mike Show, who's an old school radio guy. And the topic was, we broke down the Howard Stern show from September 11th, 2001. And I didn't realize John was a big part of that day. He was in the room and he keeps trying to steer the conversation back to Pam Anderson while the Twin Towers are burning down. And so I thought it was a fascinating little bit of history. We broke it down. And in John's chat, I asked him, any memories from that day. And Dave says, ooh, good question. And John goes, yeah, anyways, I come buckets. Thanks for the $5. And moves on. And I was like, John, it would be an interesting show if you answered my fucking question.
Yeah, that was, it just doesn't have the capacity. There's not enough room in the hard drive for him to turn that over. Also, when, very similar to Casey Armstrong. I don't know if you watch him at all. We cover him a bit on Ripcast.
Oh,
But
I love
Hackright tells
Casey
me you're a big fan.
Armstrong.
Oh
Yeah.
boy, let me tell you something. There is a certain amount of room in his head, and very much like a long bus that needs to make a U-turn, he has limited space in here. So sometimes the turn just doesn't, he doesn't quite complete the turn. Same with John.
Right.
I wonder if something was in the water there at the Stern show.
Yes, and let me clue you in on a upcoming battle between Vinny the lawyer and Casey Armstrong. It is going to be a doozy.
Live today? What is
Well,
that?
that would be a good fight. Vinny pumps weight, and Casey is a wet brain, so it would be a good fight.
That guy Vince is a real asshole too, huh? Just
Vince is the
needy
worst.
attention. Yeah, he seems like.
Well, I mean, these guys get on and they talk about this fight that they want to have. Okay, so Casey and John want to have a boxing match.
Oh, that's good. That'll be healthy for John. That's smart.
Well,
Yes,
dude,
yes.
listen, neither one of these guys are going to get cleared to do a fight. Like, what are they talking about?
Yes.
Casey is on 6 kinds of medication,
Yes,
Right.
he is
Including-
5150.
including lithium. He's got TBIs. He's got head injuries. He thinks that he's going to get medically cleared for a fight.
Right.
John is almost 60. Has probably he has liver. He probably has cirrhosis.
I mean,
this
John would
point-
be whatever fight commission would have to evaluate that would think it was a joke. If John was like, may I please fight in a sanctioned event?
I would still put my money on John's chimpanzee-like strength.
I will say, I think there are states where it's much easier. I know when Rough and Rowdy started, I think there were states it was a lot easier to get, let's say, the type of person that John is, passed for a physical to fight. So
I
there are
say we just
states
put
they
him
can
on-
do it.
Just put them on street beefs. Have you guys seen street beefs? It's like they put an octagon in a backyard and just rednecks from all over the place just start to thump on each other in this
There you
thing.
go.
It's amazing.
All right. What's next, Hack Red? Let's start firing through these a little more.
Next, we have your chat.
Oh, good. Yeah, I put a little plug for Why Are You Laughing here.
I was,
And,
by the way, blocked by Richard Ojeda.
What?
Yeah, he blocked me because
What did you do? What did you do to
well,
our friend?
here's the thing is that
You
he
get the hell
posted-
out. Hack Red, get him out of here.
Let me just tell you what happened. He posted something and and it was about something about I'm not a political guy. I don't like that stuff. That's not my thing.
Sure.
I'm really not. I just don't like corruption. So he posted something, and I said, "Well, here's this thing about something that happened with Beau Biden when he was the Attorney General of Delaware. He let go one of the DuPonts who committed a horrible crime against his own daughter, if you know what I mean.
You were being a jackaloon, is what you were doing.
I was a bit of a
Frankly.
jackaloon that day.
Yeah,
I was
okay.
jackaloonish.
All right.
So all the respect to Richard Ojeda for his service, though.
We'll try to. We'll get you unblocked. We'll see. What
I
we
will
can
get you unblocked, my friend.
Thank you. Yeah, we just got into it a little bit, and he saw me as a jackaloon indeed.
do. Okay.
But
All right. Yeah. So
How
this,
about all those medals that he has? That guy. Wow.
he's an impressive guy. I don't know if I care
Shit.
for your tone. He's a very impressive man.
No, he has all in it like a big frame behind him, right?
Yes,
Yes.
yes. We do not speak ill of the man that may be strapped to Mike at 18,000 feet.
He's a
This
great.
is-
Oh, we got to get to that too. I forgot
Yes,
about
yes.
that.
Oh, yes, we will get to that. We
We'll
will get to that.
It was a compliment.
Yeah. All right, let's hear my super chat because this invoked a man who, frankly, an evil man tried to get my podcast shut down after this comment.
Mike, thanks for the $5. Then why are you laughing? Covered Stern on 9/11.
Oh, this is it.
You remember much from that episode?
Very good question.
Why are you laughing? What is that?
I'm sure it's some kind of other show or podcast or something like that.
Yeah. So, and
It
I'm
is,
not done
dickhead.
yet at all. I love this guy's name. I lick log cutters.
See, John just breezes by.
Yeah.
Okay,
Someone
actually had a
jingled
question.
keys in front of him. Ooh, I lick log cutters is talking to me.
What a great name.
Yes,
It's not even
that is my
creative,
new
John.
favorite.
Yeah, so
That's like
uh,
Detroit double dick in 41.
So I tried to get John to talk about the glory days of 9/11, as we all remember them, and he didn't. But someone picked up on my super chat a little later.
Right.
Blind Mike sent a super chat to you earlier. and he made you read something horrible.
Oh, really?
Yes, be careful with Blind Mike.
Okay. Well, thank you, Carter. Thanks for looking out. That's
He actually invented the Nick G thing in Super Chats. That was all Blind Mike.
What was that? The laughing comment?
Yes, that show, Why Are You Laughing, is horrible. Nobody should go and watch that.
Okay. All right. Thank you. 'Cause I don't-
Cardiff.
You're more in the know in the Dabbleverse.
That's a
than me,
Cardiff endorsement, as far as I'm concerned.
'cause I don't know this stuff.
So the reason I wanted to show that is, first of all, to show what a snake Cardiff is. We
Well,
have
I had
demons
him on
here,
the
not
show with
potatoes.
I had him on Ripcast with Corndiff. That's there. We had to have extra security.
Did he sell me out there too? Did he badmouth
did.
Why You Laughing? This son of a bitch.
Everybody. He threw everybody under that potato bus.
He can't be trusted. But mainly what I wanted to display was that you can just tell John whatever. Like the idea that he was on a show that used that name 30 years ago in prank calls. The idea that I invented it. And
You're
John's
pioneer.
like, oh, really? He's Mr. Gurr. You don't say.
Nicholas himself.
All right. But
Nick visits every chat. I hope people know that.
he's gotten popular. Nick has made the rounds lately. He is in
He
a
is
lot
like
of chat
Santa
rooms.
Claus.
Yeah. I got to say, though, with those, I don't love the ones where it's like, it has to be a name still. Like there's someone named I Lick Log Cutters. That's not a believable name.
That's an AI generated name. I'm convinced.
All right, what's next, Hack Rod?
Next up, we have trans jokes.
Ooh.
Okay, so we're getting here. This is where I'm surprised Carl didn't have more clips in this direction, only because Carl is the one that I believe really struck a nerve here. So Carl mentioned, and I've heard him mention this before, but he mentioned with John that what's the guy's name? Dan Filato? Is that his name? Artie Lange's old producer? When he was producing for Artie's show, John came on and they did an episode where John got wasted. And it was around the time of his kid's transition. And John made all sorts of jokes that would be deemed transphobic. Now, you're about to hear John kind of defend the idea that times have changed. And you guys know, listening to this show, I 100% agree. There's jokes that you would have made 10 years ago that in today's world, you shouldn't be judged for making those jokes because the meaning and the intent were totally different than we would take them now. So I agree with him. The point that he is missing is that Carl's only point was John saying, don't make fun of my kids, when John went on a pretty big podcast at that time with a pretty viciously funny guy in Artie Lange and presented this subject as if it was ripe for humor. That's where the hypocrisy comes into play.
Oh, yeah.
So John, when he was on with Carl, said, this never happened. I have no memory of that. I think Dave whispered into his ear, and then John said, I have no memory of that. And finally, it seems like John's trying to maybe get ahead of that audio possibly coming out someday.
My daughter came out as a lesbian in high school, and she got bullied immensely, and
that was just at home.
Call me and
That's a big punch.
You do that, John.
hold on.
Oh, you both did it. You and Cardiff both stepped on John's joke.
I'll try again. My daughter got bullied like crazy, and the school's principal had to call me and tell me to stop. Okay. Now, I would make jokes like that. And I asked
Hilarious
my
jokes,
daughter if
John.
I
Be careful.
can.
I apologize for stepping on your punchline.
Yes. And I asked my daughter if I could make jokes about the one that I used with the interview with Carla, where I'm looking at the hot chick. And I'm like, holy shit. My daughter's going to see me staring at a hot chick. And then I look over and she's like this. And she's looking. So those are jokes. And I said, could I use that stuff? She goes, yes, of course, Dad. So when my daughter came out as
like that, please.
transgender,
You got to pay the bills somehow, Dad. And it's going to be humor like that.
I mean, if we get you some more super chats, Dad, you do what you got to do.
So what we're watching John do here is what pathological liars do, and I dealt with a few in my day, where you present a topic to them, and they slowly over time shift it. Now, the great pathological liars do it so well that you don't even notice they're doing it. Unfortunately, John's not smart, so he doesn't have that ability. Like
He's not what you call masterful.
There are people, and even pathological liars is probably the wrong word. There are just people that are great at arguing that will shift the argument. And I think that's one of the things Stern was great at, where he would kind of present things in a way that now you're arguing about something different and you don't even realize it. That's what John is attempting to do. But he waited till Carl was gone, which kind of disproves the point that he's making. But also he's changing the argument. No one said his bits on stage would get him in trouble at home. They said that this podcast that got scrubbed with Artie Lange that Dan Filato has access to, apparently, that's what they think is going to get you in trouble with your family, and that John doesn't want out there.
He gets a little loose after a few.
A little bit.
Do jokes as well. So that's why I would do jokes on stage. Like my first response is, "What are you, an airline?" Now,
boom.
The joke in question. This is where I win for 5 strikes. Now, here we go. This is where I win again. I used to do a joke.
Hold on. Sorry. Can I just say where John's quote influence? And why are you laughing? I talk about this all the time. There's a very fine line between influence and ripoff, and it's really about how creative and unique the person is. Like Mark Normand, clearly, just you could hear him say one word based on his voice. You could probably guess that he's influenced by Jerry Seinfeld and Norm Macdonald, clearly. But he's funny enough and unique enough on his own that he's carved out a brand for himself. What John is doing here is so transparently Howard. Like, he's so clearly trying to be Howard, just in the way that he's speaking. If you go back just a couple seconds to set that up again, because like all I think of is him trying to be Howard here when he makes these arguments, because he's like, check out the big brain on John, that sort of a thing, where he's like, this is why you can't compete with this. When guys like Howard Stern do this, guys like Kirk Minahan, guys like Dave Portnoy, who, even though like Portnoy presents as like a dumb guy, but I think is a genius. And I'm not just saying that because he says he doesn't hate me anymore. But he, like, these guys.
He's cooled on you, Mike. He's cool.
Yeah. I'm not just saying it because of that. But these guys, the 3 guys I just mentioned, and plenty of others that are great at broadcasting, are able to say, hey, you can't compete with this because the audience believes it. John is looking at people that have no respect for him and saying, you want to tango with this mind? You want to go toe-to-toe with the master? It's like, yeah, I'm very confident in doing that.
Let me pull apart this Rubik's Cube and put it back together and show you how smart I am.
Mensa.
The joke in question, this is where I win for 5 strikes now. Here we go. This is where I win again.
Jesus Christ.
I used to do a joke, which is inappropriate now. Okay? So the joke was, and this is before.
Oh, come on.
I
Jesus.
wrote this joke before Bruce Jenner came out as transgender.
It's not true.
This
the
is
joke wouldn't make
when
any sense.
he was rumored to have his Adam's apple
Dead namer.
removed. And they showed a picture of him in the car, I believe wearing nail polish or something else. So I said, so the joke was, what's going on with Bruce Jenner? Like, it looks like he went from the cover of Wheaties to the cover of Fruit Loops. Now,
that's a real zinger. Holy shit. How long? That's years of work.
Because we didn't know he was trans. Now it's not. So I have since taken that out of my act. Now, as far as me doing jokes about transgender, and this is an emotional moment, when my son told me.
Hold on. Because I want to hear Cardiff's point here. But that's how you know it's a genuinely emotional moment. Like I've cried on air before once. And you know how you knew it was genuine? I said, gang, tears coming. Buckle up. Everyone stop what they're doing and get ready for a lot of emotion to come out. It's not that it just pours out of you uncontrollably and you're embarrassed by it after. It's that you're like, everyone brace yourselves.
Right, here it comes.
You're about to see some real human emotion here.
Yeah, I hope you could handle it. Look, if you haven't broken down on your own show once or twice, then you're really not a creator. Okay.
Guys, strap in here because I'm about to be so human. You're not going to be able to.
It's gonna be crazy.
You're not going to know what happened to you.
I'm looking now at a box of Fruit Loops. Bruce Jenner looks nothing like Toucan Sam. What's the joke? I don't get it.
Excellent point by Cardiff, and that's what I
Nice.
wanted to talk about. That's why I said the timeline doesn't add up, because the one of the other punchlines he has is that about Caitlyn Jenner being trans, and he says, "Folks, that takes a pair of balls." And it's like, well, John, okay, let's say it was before she was officially trans, whatever you want to say. The joke was about Bruce Jenner being trans, whether it was Caitlyn Jenner yet or whatever. The joke was at the expense of being trans, and you can't now say, well, it's because he was wearing nail polish. It's like, no, you're again trying to change the argument, and you are not smart enough to
Right.
not let us realize that you're doing that.
In order to close that joke, also, I think he needs to actually add Toucan Sam into the joke. Right? Because he's referring to the image. He went from the cover of Wheaties to he went from
the
the
cover of
of
Fruit Loops, you're
Wheaties.
calling him a fruit, is what you're saying, while
Right.
also simultaneously saying how progressive you are.
Right.
But and again, I don't have a single fucking. If you want to if you want to still call him Bruce Jenner and do a 1 hour one-man show about calling it, saying how trans is mental, whatever the fuck you want to say, I don't give a fuck. My point is, when I start to give a fuck is when you scold other people for making those jokes, like John has over and over again, and kind of made it your sole crusade. Is like, I'm going after these people because they've made fun of my kids. It's like, well, then you can't make those same jokes, John. Everyone's someone's kid, John.
Right.
So let's hear him finish this out. That was the end of the clip, right?
Before
Yes,
the next
that w-
package, let me get some water real quick.
Yeah, go for it.
All right. I feel my mouth drying up. I don't want to make it dry.
We can go. We can keep going, Hack Ride, while he gets his water. What's the actually, while he's doing that, Hack Ride, tell me, we have
Yes.
to. So you're telling me in order to get Richard Ojeda to do a live show?
Ah, yes. Hold on. Let me change that. I have changed the wallpaper showing you skydiving. Now, yes, continue.
I'm gonna, in order to get Richard Ojeda, I'm gonna have to jump out of a plane with him.
Listen, 6 minutes on the stage doing stand-up is as dangerous as jumping out of an airplane with a man who's done it 300 times. Let's be honest. It's a
as
fair trade.
frightening. People are very afraid of public speaking, but I don't know if it's as
Yes.
dangerous.
Yes. Well, with the major, it is very safe. He will go with a backup person, so if his shoot fails, they will grab onto you and make a choice. Either
So
Ojeda
is
or
there
the
any
blind
wiggle
man.
room with this? Could I negotiate my
course.
way out of it? Okay, all right.
Of course, there's always negotiations. Maybe Richard doesn't do comedy and just does the drinking game. We can, he is very nervous about the comedy. When I mentioned the stand-up, you see the flop sweat starting, and he has not written anything yet. So
All right,
I
well,
don't
we'll see,
want to
guys.
pressure him.
Let me know in the comments if I should, if you think it's wise. You guys know what you know about me. You know my impairments and all that. Should I jump out of a plane with Richard Ojeda? Let us know in the comments section.
So,
as
Mike,
we-
there is a non-0% chance that this man one day may be president. And you would be passing up the opportunity to jump out of an airplane with maybe a George W. Bush type.
That
Could
you
you
do-
live
you-
with yourself?
You made that point to me, and that did change things for me. That's an interesting point. He could be
Like-
president someday. If I, hey, Hackride, we get this show big enough, I could influence an election. I could be the next show.
Absolutely.
So,
Absolutely.
so if that happens, if this show becomes, Rogan-esque, then we could put Richard Ojeda in the White House. So I do think what you're saying makes a lot of sense.
Yes. Zero Dark Tony, do you have
Yeah.
any opinions about Blind Mike strapping himself to Richard Ojeda and
Can I jump out
falling
of a
from
plane
18,000
with
feet?
Richard Ojeda?
I said it better.
I'm sorry.
As in a tandem jump with this man?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. They hold each other tight for safety.
Like it
Well,
must-
Comfort.
YOLO. Jesus, I mean,
Yeah.
probably not a great idea. I mean, but
Zero Dark Tony, you don't know the other side. For this jump, we receive 5 minutes of original stand-up comedy from Richard Ojeda. Isn't that not worth it for the content?
where are the buckles?
Thank you.
Buckle me in. I'll go.
Content for Redemption is the next clip. Here we go. We've solved that one.
All right, good. Sounds good.
I've been practicing.
What is Carter's favorite history of comedy podcast?
Why are you laughing? Especially the Abbott and Costello episode.
I thought you hate that show.
I go with the wind sometimes, John.
He's flitty. Say you're flitty. He's flitty.
That was
What
a
did he
great
say?
ad from Dave. Thank you there.
What did he say?
I'm flinty or something. Or Cardiff's flinty, I guess. But
I go with the wind sometimes, John.
He's flitty. Say you're flitty. He's flitty.
Flitty. Oh, flitty.
But here's where I just like that Cardiff is so clearly fucking with him that he's like, my favorite history of comedy podcast. Why are you laughing? As a matter of fact, the show I trashed 10 minutes ago. But this is the mind of John Melendez, where he doesn't scrutinize that at all. He says like, I thought you hated that show. Why do you think that, John? Because 5 minutes ago, Cardiff said he hated the show.
Right. He believes everything right out of the gate.
Yes.
And runs with it.
You literally, it's, this would be John's so dumb, I said this on WATP, that it would make for a horrible sitcom character, because you would get one of those bits where it's like, hey, John, the sky is red today. And he'd be like, oh, really? Is it red? I didn't know that. And he'd be like, no, actually, it's green. And he'd be like, you got to be kidding me. It changed already? And in a sitcom, you wouldn't believe that there's a human being like that. So you'd be like, this is a dumb show. But John is like that.
Well, I know you don't see a lot. I don't know if you ever seen The Young Ones. I know I've mentioned some British comedy earlier.
So. Oh, no.
The Young Ones is another British comedy, and there is a character on there named Vivian. Okay. To me, John is very much like this character. I watch a lot of British TV. I think it's funny.
Yes, John does fit in with British comedy more than American, for sure.
Right.
He is David Brent.
Right. Why do I have to make the tea?
Yeah, well, he is much more David Brent than Michael Scott, because David Brent's a little bit of an asshole. And I think that's John, where it's like tougher to like David Brent than Michael Scott.
No redeeming qualities. That is
not a one.
Right.
Not a one all the way to the horizon line.
All right, what's next?
Evolution and Proof.
Oh, well, this is, John's, again, simultaneously, he's evolved over time, but also proving that he's always been right about everything. So it's like, at one time he was wrong and he's changed, but also he's always been right.
Whatever jokes they were, obviously I realized after the fact they were inappropriate and begged. I'll just call him. I don't want to even give him a disparaging name. I'll just say, I just called Artie's manager.
This is another thing. Hold on one second. This is another thing John does that bugs me endlessly. Earlier in the show, he said Dan's name. He said Dan Filato. And then he's like, oh, wait, you know what? I'm not even going to say that. I'm going to give him a different name. It's like, but John, you're not white. You're not the Men in Black. You're not erasing our memory.
The penny's been dropped, sir.
Right. What's done is done. And then I think when I mentioned that, and Cardiff pointed out that he said the name like Joni Goldstein or something like that, which I don't know who that is. But he goes, Joni Goldstein. Wait! Oh, damn. I said I wouldn't say a name. Well, that's not her full name. Which I guess maybe she got married or something, but...
Well, it's just further evidence of his goldfish brain, right? He just, if it hits the surface, he's going to go right to it,
But it's talking about how smart he is. Like, you can't beat this. You can't mess with this mind. He's a guy that is begging for Cardiff's real name. He's like, give me your real name. And then time and time again, while he's talking to Cardiff, will say blurt out a name that's not supposed to be said on air. And then be like, who knows what his name is?
He's like the low-key, sneaky doxer, with the watches in his jacket. He just flashes them open. I got them here for you.
Right. All right, let's continue.
Artie's manager. Let's leave it at that. Mm-hmm. And our Artie's producer. I just said, "Oh shit! You know what? I shouldn't have made those jokes. They're inappropriate. Could you please not air it?" That's according to my pal, Lady K, and that's just that's
Hold on, again,
learning.
In the middle of this discussion, where he's talking about how he's evolved and his opinion has changed on trans jokes, and while he's saying he doesn't make trans jokes anymore, he throws in Lady K. Now, if I may, John, what is the joke in calling Carl Lady K? If it's not, wouldn't it be hilarious if this guy was actually a woman? If that's not the joke, imagine calling this person with a beard a lady's name. That'd be fucking hilarious. While he's saying, listen, I don't do trans jokes anymore.
I'm a changed man.
Yeah.
And
that's just the truth of what happened, and it seems reasonable to me.
look, Howard Stern was in blackface. Okay, he used the N-word. Now I use it in reference to a
Fireworks?
bottle rocket that I.
Okay, good.
I thought he said, now I use it. Like, but now listen.
He uses it still for the fireworks?
In my rap career, I use it often.
The N-word chaser rocket?
That's the point he's about to make is this.
Okay.
Yeah.
At least he's being honest right now. This is I was surprised when he started to talk about this.
I have it saved. There was a firework ad that actually used that word to those fireworks. So
What?
for those who think that I was somehow making it up, I can
It ran on
prove it to
CBS
you.
Sunday mornings.
That's a bicoastal thing because I can't.
It was
even
right
get
next to the
fireworks
National
in
Enquirer,
California.
the N-word chasers.
You pick them up, you get yourself a Snickers bar, a National Enquirer, and a couple of N-word chasers.
Yeah, and you get the 30% off of your grape juice when you get those.
A dirty old rotting banana.
And some Welch's.
Show it on the screen.
Definitely don't. But if you see it, you can. I mean, you can
Well,
show people. You
I
can
would
tell
have to
people what
blur
it
it
is.
out, right?
Yeah, if you could blur it out.
Why would you show, John, ask yourself, as a human being, why show it and blur it out? Who is that for?
There's no point. This exists, but it
Honestly,
doesn't.
I realized after the fact they were inappropriate and begged. I'll just call them. I don't want to even give them a disparaging name. I'll just say I just called Artie's manager. I'm just say Artie's manager. Let's leave it at that. And or Artie's producer. I just
Oh my God.
said, "Oh shit, you know what? I shouldn't have made those jokes. They're inappropriate. Could you please not air it?" That's according to my pal.
So he's admitting
Lady
to
K.
it, but also not. He's like, I did these things according to Carl, who lies about everything. So it's like, why are you apologizing? If Carl's making everything up, why are you like, listen, I did these things according to Carl, but I'm about to address them.
Well, he started to talk about the firework and that it was an ad. So I was just doing a little quick search and I found an ad that says, "These racist collectibles will make your skin crawl." So that's what you get when you search this particular term. I'm
Just hear their
curious to find this
spokesperson,
ad.
John Melendez.
Yeah.
Hello, for 1999.
Oh my goodness.
And let's
we've
not-
got N-word commemorative coins.
And that's
Here, I'm going to put this in the private chat. This link.
that's just me learning. And
That's just the truth of what happened, and it seems reasonable to me.
look, Howard Stern was in blackface. Okay, he used the N-word.
Taking Howard
Now,
down. with
I
him.
use it.
I
in
know, really?
reference
Throw him under the bus. How da do da
to a
day?
bottle
I
rocket
remember
I
that.
can show you. I have it saved. There was a firework ad that actually
Who's
used
arguing
that
this?
word to those fireworks. So for those who think that I was somehow making it up, I could prove it to you. That
No, that's a bicoastal thing because I can't even get fireworks in California, and I knew that was.
We don't get N-word chasers out here.
I'm imagining like a
Hard to
Nickelodeon
find.
type. I'm imagining like those old you guys are different than me in age, but if you remember like Nickelodeon GAC commercials and shit like that.
Oh God.
I imagine just the N-word chasers where kids are like going wild, running down the street.
We got a lot of spick chasers out here, though. We got those.
That was sad in the 90s. We had to downgrade to those. After the Rodney King beatings.
Yeah, very. They're all worried about it when they lit it on fire. It's crazy. You know, those Koreans were standing on the roof, and they were spray painting on their door, "Brack owned" with an R.
But also,
It's true.
But those were the days.
Yeah, let me tell you something.
But this is a straw man argument, another straw man argument that John has built, because no one's presenting this. The N-word chaser argument is something people brought up because John was saying, I never use words like this. And they were like, oh, really? Well, how about these drops? And that's where he's now built this defense of people change and times change. So he's going on this rant again to distract us from the original point that John did a podcast where he trashes his kids. That's what all this is about.
A long time ago. It's just.
I don't know if I could show it on the screen.
Look at his
Definitely
single.
don't, but if you see it, you can.
He is hunt and pecking his keyboard. Look at him.
I mean, you can show people. You can tell people what
it
it
out, right?
Yeah, if you could blur it out.
Then why show it?
And I know that's what they call it.
All right, I've turned my screen black, but here's the evidence.
We call it black screen.
Show you this ad. Here it is. Well, I don't know if I can't show this because it's a part of
non-existent.
history, isn't it?
That's why I can't show.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it is. Like kind of like a news thing. I mean, and like a commentary thing. I guess. I mean, you're not showing it.
Why is he asking Dave as if Dave has any fucking idea about YouTube's
You're not showing it
regulations?
Yeah, it's right here in section 4, paragraph A.
to promulgate hate. So I mean,
No. Well, you know what? It's
What
pretty
was that
blurry.
word?
You know.
Promulgate?
So
Yeah, something like that.
this is my proof. Okay.
Okay, that's a word. All right.
This was an ad for fireworks. All right. This is what they
Proof of what?
In
Now,
1952.
see that ad.
This is my proof that I wasn't
You
the
know
only
what?
racist.
it's actually good because it's. No, I can't see it. I see the ad. It's very blurry, but I can
Very
definitely.
blurry.
You can make out the first part of that if you kind of get in on a little bit.
And you too can buy yourself some N-word chasers.
Yeah, just get on the phone with Spencer Fireworks.
Here's the advertisement. Ask for Michelle. She's very good. She'll hook you up.
And just use Stuttering John for your 20% discount code.
That's promo code Stuttering John to save
But that's
10%.
only for the N-word chasers. They're trying to off them, if you know what I mean. We're going to promulgate that.
It is all, speaking of fireworks, it's all smoke and mirrors he's putting up. Like, the arguments he's having aren't real. And this is why John's like, oh, I beat Carl. No, you lost to Carl in an argument and then gave your counter when he wasn't there and are taking some sort of victory lap for, like, getting over him on points that he's not on the show for.
What year do you think John's brain smoothed over from the booze? Like, just became totally smooth. No divots.
2016.
That's about right. That's about what I was going to say, Hackride. That's about the right area, I think. Although,
big
when was he working for
deterioration.
Stephanie Miller? Around that time?
Exactly. The Stephanie Miller was the start of the downfall. And you can hear more about that on the Hack Ride Puzzle Box with my host Krista, who worked with Stuttering John.
Ooh,
the
now I'm
Stephanie
interested in
Miller
hearing
show.
that.
Yes.
Yeah, go.
She knows nothing.
Subscribe to Hackride.
Yes.
Get on there and get that sub going.
Yes.
And hit the
subscribe
like
to Zero
button.
Dark Tony and this channel. Everyone.
Up next is covering his ass.
Yeah, so this he wants to make sure that, God forbid, this audio ever gets out. Hopefully, Dan is going through the files now.
Subscribe
But
to
if
me
there's
if
a-
you want to be persecuted by a ton of, well, it's not even a ton. It's just a few crazy people. No worries. Never mind.
We'll get to the Scientologists. Don't worry. We'll get to the people that are going to take
Scary.
Tony down. I'm helping him,
lot of
actually. He
them.
doesn't know that. All right. So, yeah, John's covering his ass here in case that audio ever does come out. He wants everyone to know that he was on the right side of history.
When it comes to my transgender jokes, I don't do them anymore. I don't do those jokes anymore. I realized they were inappropriate. That's why I asked Artie's
Because
producer
people on social media told you.
take
Right.
them out.
Please sign my petition to run for senator.
And I thank you, Artie's producer, for not.
Hold on, pause real quick. That's an Tony, you remind me of something. If he ran now, no, he wouldn't have a shot. but like there would be an actual push. Everyone in the Dabbleverse would be lobbying for this man. He'd have more of a shot of getting elected. I wish he would make another run for office.
Well, I mean, I think they're going to show up at a lot of his rallies with a bunch of those N-word chasers. I'll tell you that right now.
Well, there, I mean,
Those
I
are gonna
know,
be popping
I know a
off.
place where you can get them. John just advertised for them, so
That's right.
Putting it
Ladies
out.
and gentlemen, right down to Spencer Fireworks, ladies and gentlemen.
And Dan, I won't say his name, but Nad.
see, he does it. Dan, I won't say his name.
If you know, or I'll call him Stan.
Yeah, not Nat, because that's like
What-
you know,
what a
that's
smoke
another-
screen.
It's a
Well,
double
it's
entendre. Yeah.
It's just
I know
to
what
let
it
us back.
Hold on. Hackrat, defend your boy there. Does he know what double entendre means?
Let's. DG likes the brown liquor, so we don't know how much he's had at this point. Let's just say that he's probably 4 or 5 fingers.
Stan, which of course is double entendre, not just another white name.
All right, Stan. I really don't have a problem with you. I appreciate that you took that down, and I'm sorry. And I hope that I hope you don't release it because it doesn't matter because I'm gonna say
Now, just a day and a half ago, and this is why I think John came back. A day and a half before this, John said it doesn't exist. He never did that podcast. And now he's saying, Dan, he's appealing to his senses. He's not saying, well, he's saying his name and then not saying it. So he's trying to keep this man private and saying, please don't release this. So I
Don't
can
release
only
this
imagine.
public thing as I try to signal to you privately through my public forum.
Right. Yeah. I can only imagine if John is going through all this trouble of trying to cover his ass. I can only imagine how bad this podcast was.
He's the guy. He's like, I put his email on this T-shirt. To remind me.
And you can buy it right now.
Right now. It's got his email and everything on it. I didn't know if I should do it or not, but I did.
But it's very clever because the shirt says his real name is not Dan. So that way no one thinks it's his real name.
that and my kids. Oh, this is what I want to say. Then after my kids scolded me for calling Knight Greta.
Okay, hold on. I'm sorry. I should have set this part up a little better. So John earlier says that and it was half a genuine moment because you almost feel like John is a human being when he says stuff like this. Because believe me, I get it. I grew up in a world that is different today based on how you're allowed to talk about gender and all that. So, like, there's shit I could say that'll get me taken off YouTube, which has become like a source of income for me. So legitimately, I sympathize with John and trying to navigate those waters and everything. And having a kid in that situation has to be 10 million times more difficult than I can possibly grasp. I get it. John's had a lot of learning to go through.
Well, I mean, he's trying to row a boat whilst at the same time pouring water into it. I mean,
yes, that's the
he's-
problem. Because he says earlier that there's tough stuff because he dead named his kid by accident. He used the wrong name after they had transitioned. Greta instead of Knight or something like that.
He's good at that.
Yeah. So yes, exactly. So again, and Cardiff, I think, made the point. Don't you see why I don't want to give you my real name? But John used the wrong name for his kid, and his kids were like, "Dad, what? That's not. Come on, be better than that." I guess they called him out for it, which I sympathize with John in that moment. Now, here's why I don't sympathize with him, because even with his kids, he's looking to get some hollow victory to hold over their head.
Over the kid's head.
Yes. Yeah. Listen to this.
Me for calling Knight Greta. One time, Lily accidentally said, "Are you inviting Greta?" And I went, "Oh, you said, oh, Dad, stop pointing that out." And I'm like, "Well, hey, that's what you did to me." The Phantom Dentist, thanks for $4. How much would it take you for the trash kids? I would never trash.
How
my
old is the
kids.
kid that he's talking about?
I don't know. I think they're all in their early 20s now. I think the youngest is 17. Yeah.
And as far as those transgender comments that allegedly are out there or whatever that my buddy Lady K was talking about,
He just
if I
leaned to
say
show the graphic behind him. Do you see that?
What's that?
Pull back just about 3
anything
seconds.
horrible, which I'm sure I might
He
have
just
made horrible.
when he was Carl's face is behind him. He's trying to flex that graphic, but he's blocking it with his head. And as he's
Yes.
talking, he realizes it. And then you see what he
Yes.
does. He moves to show after he says Lady K. If you could run that back. Just to
But
see
he's
it.
also saying, while he's talking about these trans comments, he's also saying again, Lady K, which
Right.
is completely undercutting everything he's talking about.
Right. Look, there's Lady K right there.
My buddy Lady K was talking
He
about
could reverse.
I
Okay.
if I say anything horrible, which I'm sure I might have made horrible, inappropriate jokes, I apologize. And that's all I can do. And I'll say that I evolved and I'll never make them again.
That's big of him to kind of admit, because he must know it's really bad. That's why I hope Dan Filato is vigorously looking through his audio, because it sounds like it's rough. But
it's still very virtual signally.
Very
apology.
Very virtue signally. And also the idea that he throws in there, and this is what narcissists like John do, is they have to throw in like, my kids made a mistake. While he's saying, like, I love my kids so much, I would never make fun of them or anything. Hey, they fucked up once. Don't forget that. It's like someone
when you pick your parents in heaven and stuff, that's where they really fucked up.
Yeah. Like my dad once reached out to me because it came up on like Kirk's show a bunch that like he and I aren't particularly close. And he called me one day to be like, like, I know we're not that close, but there's a lot of stuff I did do for you as a kid. And I was like, well, this isn't really like an apology. What is this? And that's what John's doing right there, where he's like, I'm terribly sorry. But my kid, they make mistakes. Don't forget that.
Jeez. Right. He's unbelievable with his kids using them to make his points. And,
That's why I wanted to do this, because I felt it deserved a closer look. John thought he got away with this horse shit.
But wasn't it Chad that really opened this door for this community to start doxing everybody? Isn't that what started it, if I'm not mistaken?
Well, I would say the first time I remember it coming up is John claiming that people were trying to get his gigs canceled.
Yeah.
And like, none of the shows told anyone to do that. I'm sure people did, because people are fucking idiots.
Yeah.
But there's only so many times. And I was talking about this recently somewhere, but it's like, my whole thing is when people will go after like Barstool a lot for this, or the Minifans, any passionate fan base like that. People will say like, oh, Dave Portnoy is responsible for what his fans do. No, if Dave Portnoy said, hey guys, attack the New York Times or whatever, then he would be responsible. Short of that, you're not responsible for anything your fans do.
Mm-hmm.
John was the one who was literally telling people, go leave this comedy club or so-and-so bad Yelp reviews because they're my enemy now. John was the one doing that, not any of the people he names. But we have one more clip, right?
Yes, Mike. We have come to the piste de resistance.
So this is where it was really rough to watch John, because anyone else I would say, oh, they're having a human moment. But don't forget, this is John trying to cover his ass and make us all feel bad for him in case that audio of him and Artie Lange ever does come out.
Well, you can't compete with this thing right here behind these liver spots. There's no competing with that.
It's a brain, and it's a brain filled with a lot of emotions, as we're about to see.
And the hardest thing about divorce is being a father and going through a divorce. Now, I'll always love Susanna. There won't be a day in my life that I won't love the mother of my children.
Well,
I still think she's a very beautiful woman.
Powerful stuff.
I miss her sometimes. And
the emotional John.
This is where he's not as bad an actor as we thought. In One Too Many, he wasn't able to display this much range.
He's really, really bringing it here. It's like Sophie's Choice.
Hold on.
It's okay, man. It's all right. I told you. You just got to be real, brother. That's all. That's all that's important. So,
well, sadly, DG, I don't think he is, but.
All right, hold on.
There was a little Phil moment there on the waterworks.
The first part is raising kids as a single dad.
I'm a single dad.
You didn't.
Yeah.
Right.
You didn't raise kids. Your wife did.
He is sad for his wife that she had to raise them.
Right. Oh, I didn't realize you had such sympathy for the wife.
So much work.
Because John has talked nonstop about how much pussy he's gotten since his divorce, how he's always out drinking. He's promoted that he's at the Pickwick pub every day at 3 p.m. Like, he has not raised his kids as a single dad.
Yes.
I see them sometimes.
That's just like this dirty little fish and chips bar on Ventura Boulevard in Woodland Hills is that place. And then there's another one. The same owners have a couple of like British pubs around town.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes, Zero Dark. I don't think people understand the area John lives in. We both are from LA, and that area it brings a smile to both of our faces.
You're getting too geographical for me, but
it's right next to a Del Taco.
Yes.
Oh well, excuse me. But
across from a Wendy's on Ventura Boulevard there, yeah.
This is literally the fucking Chris Rock bit where he's like, I take care of my kids. What, you want a cookie? That's what John's doing is like, I mean, you guys, if you have no sympathy for me now, wait until I tell you I raised my children. Oh, bravo, John.
Yes.
Congratulations.
Yes, I told you this in the chat, Blind Mike, but narcissists tend to cry about themselves and their lives more than anyone else. Empathy for others? Fuck no. But I stepped on my toe in 3rd grade and the waterworks come.
I'll tell you something.
Yeah,
the tears that are coming out right now are not from the subject he's talking about.
Right.
Absolutely not.
It's from the idea what will happen to him if that audio ever comes out is what's encouraging those tears.
This is for his bosses at LAUSD. See, I cried. I was sad. Give me my job back.
I apologized. I don't make jokes.
Very empathetic.
It's hard not seeing them every day. Because what happens in the mediation is that I was doing 12 hours at the Tonight Show as a writer.
Mm-hmm.
Hardest working man in
When they
showbiz.
asked me, what do you want in time spent? And I realized that
I said nothing.
there's no way I could spend.
I took that piece of paper and I threw that paper plane right across the room at them.
I realized there was no amount of time I could spend with my kids that would be enough. So I said 0.
I said, you know what? Pickwick Pub.
Why bother? You tell me a number that I have to settle for and I'll agree to it.
It's like I see them at the bottom of every glass.
They're always with me. They're not dead if you find a way to remember that. It's like, no, John, you're just losing custody. You can still see them.
I could drive by their school when they're playing soccer.
Wave, keep going.
Wave. I'm not allowed to actually on the school property, but I can be on the public street.
Well, it's sad. Well, let's hear the end of this clip. I forget. He goes on to talk about the stepdad. I don't know if it's in this clip, but let's hear the rest.
She got remarried?
Yeah.
Oh.
We pitched every morning at 9 a.m. to Jay. We got up at 7. We edited all our pitches because they were. So we had
fucking guy is juicy.
And we edited it on Final Cut Pro. Because we really want to get the joke through to Jay and to Jack Cohen, our head writer.
Where does all that moisture come from?
And I was a damn good writer on that show. And Jack Cohen said, I wish I had 10 Johns. That's his quote. Jay came up to me.
That's in the midst of this tearful apology to his family.
Total narcissism.
And they said I was more influential on the Tonight Show than Johnny Carson. They said, John, your wave over to the couch made so many stars. It's amazing that he's able to shoehorn his achievements into this, where he's begging for his family preemptively.
He shoehorns his achievements into other people's achievements.
Yes.
Yes. It is -1. It's -100 that if you invite Stuttering John to speak at a funeral, he will mention his credits.
As we lay him to rest, I just wanted, this reminds me a lot of the Kareem Abdul-Jabbar roast.
I'm not saying I'm bigger than Carson. I'm saying we were on the same playing field.
I'm just saying he called me when he retired.
John, do you want the job? I'm working for Howard. I can't do it.
You're doing a great job. You're fucking awesome. You hear that, Lady K?
And you're my best friend. And I love you more than my wife and kids, John. That's what his words, not mine. he really is unbelievable. Like the narcissism shines through, and it's tough.
Let me
because-
cry about my children and then tell you how much I am needed.
I went back and forth a little with someone in the comments who I thought made a good point. On our episode of Why You Laughing about the worst comedian in the world, Tom Myers, I said that I wish he could play along a little bit more because I think it would give us more Tom Myers. He would be more involved with shows and stuff like that. But like it would be better for Tom Myers. It would be more lucrative for him. And someone in the comments was like, "Don't you understand? If he was self-aware, if he was more self-aware and able to play along, he wouldn't be Tom Myers." And I totally get that point. Where I don't fully agree is I think you can be a narcissist like John, but also know enough of why people find that interesting to joke about it a little bit. Does that make sense? And maybe I'm being delusional. Maybe that's not true. But I feel like it could be learned by guys like John and Tom Myers how to market themselves in a way and not get so defensive when people come at them or make fun of them. Does that make sense?
Mm. I mean, that's just the nature of who he is. I mean, anything. Look, one of these goon qualities is the people who you say doing one thing and yelling exactly about the thing that they're doing to someone else. The hypocrisy, right?
Of course, yeah.
What an aptly named channel he has.
It's unbelievable.
The program.
The delusion to name your channel that is unbelievable.
It's hypocrisy police, right?
Yeah.
Maron. What is wrong with this kid?
All right. Well, that's what we have for Stuttering John for today. I'm thinking the further we get into this hack ride,
Yes.
well, you know, let's play the Tom Myers, the Mark Norman thing first.
Hold on one sec before you
see where
record.
we stand.
I'm like Snoop Dogg. I only need weed to function.
Okay. Oh, that's the other thing. I'm recording with two guys who are on the West Coast, so we started this at 9:30 a.m. their time, and they're both high off their asses. So
Yes.
I'm on it. I gotta say though, Hack Ride, we're deep into this. I'm enjoying the experience, buddy. I think you're doing a great job.
Oh, thank you, Blind Mike. Yes, I'm doing well. I have made some mistakes behind the scenes, but no one can see them, so it does not matter.
Perfect. Honestly, I think, would you be interested in being, you know, coming on, playing some drops, stuff like that? We could use you as a third guy in the broadcast.
Of course. I've always wanted to do it.
All right, so during the break, they informed me of some of the names of some of the items on the website that John was referring to that sells these racist collectibles. And I told them I think we'll wait for Craig to be back because he'd hate to miss the opportunity to say some of those words on air. So
Yes, Craig will love it.
we'll save that for another week. But real quick, I wanted to talk about a subject. I don't know how much you guys will be interested in this. Tony, I don't know how closely you follow the world of like stand-up or anything, but I found this interesting, so I wanted to play it. It's a story that's been around forever in stand-up. Since Mark Norman started to get even a little bit popular, this story was out there that Sherrod Small choked him out. Do you remember? Remember Opie's buddy, Sherrod Small?
Are you talking to me or Hack Ride?
Either of you.
Oh, okay. I do not.
Oh, okay. Opie used to
I probably will either recognize the voice or whatever image.
Well, yeah. So Opie used to do a show like when he left Jim Norton. He would do a show with Vic Henley, Sherrod Small, and then eventually Carl Ruiz were his guys. And Sherrod was one of those guys. And I never thought he was great on the radio or podcast, but he was whatever. He's had a long, somewhat successful stand-up career. He's Chris Rock's cousin. So, lovely for him. I'm sure he has an audience. But I'd always heard the story and thought it was very weird. But I had never heard Norman address it. I've heard it addressed only in the terms of like, oh, we can't talk about that. It's like, oh, you guys know what happened with Sherrod and Mark.
Okay, so one of these guys is not Chris Rock's cousin, I'm guessing.
No. This is Mark Norman, Sam Morrill, and Joe List.
Now, if one of these guys was Chris Rock's cousin, I would say the guy all the way on the left, but that's just me.
It's possible, but no, these guys
are talking. Joe List on the left. It is not Chris.
on We Might Be Drunk, the three of them, Joe List was out promoting his special. Go watch that. It was terrific, by the way. I wrote a review on Patreon, blindmike.net, if you want to check that out.
That's Joe List on the left?
Correct. Yes. Joe
he's
List
a
on
bit
the
of a-
left, Mark Normand in the middle, and I don't know who else on.
He's a bit of a taller drink of water than I thought he was.
Sure, yes. We're getting bogged down in the details here. I just
Hey,
want to
what
hear
can I
this
do?
story where Mark Normand talks about his incident with Sherrod Small. So they were talking about an incident where Rich Voss beat up a young comedian for making fun of his kids at the Comedy Cellar, like some Christmas party years ago.
In New York.
Rich Voss gave this guy like a fucking spinning kick in the chest or something like that.
Shut up, really?
Yeah. So
Wow.
this guy Jason Cantor was shit faced and was talking shit about, like, made some joke about dating Voss's kids or fucking Voss's daughter or something like that. And I guess Voss came back up to him when he was retelling the story, and Voss goes, "You talking shit?" And Joe List tried to like hold Voss's arms back and be like, "No, he's kidding around." And Voss spin kicked him in the chest.
Oh my God.
So they were talking about that story, and then this thing with Sherrod Small comes up. So I thought it was interesting because I've never heard Norman talk about it before.
You know, I've been tuned up at the Cellar a few times, and I still prefer that.
Right.
If you say something fucked up,
I
yeah.
remember a guy, you called me after that guy
Yeah.
was choking you
Yes.
at the Cellar.
And you know, you're all hopped up like, holy shit, that was crazy, but that's still better. We worked it out. You know?
So we won't say who it was, but there was a guy on stage.
Yeah.
And
Josh Gondelman.
but there was a guy on stage running the light.
Yeah.
It's a late show. You're getting annoyed. You shit on him on stage.
Yeah.
It's hitting. You get off stage. He greets you with like a high five and then
Yeah.
pulls you in and starts choking you.
Yeah, basically.
And he's a strong guy.
Yes, and I didn't see it coming. It was all like out of my. I had no idea.
Then you said you were gonna fuck his kid.
Yes.
And then no, then you but he was. How long did it take you guys to be good after that?
Well, you know, it probably, I don't know, 6 months. But we never saw each other. We just kept, passing in the night. And then one day it was just like, fuck it, let's just talk. And it was totally fine. And I'm all,
So-
I'm not.
It's interesting. We finally have the details of what happened now, but I just think it's so interesting that a comedian that's what's tough. Where like people are like, oh, this person's sensitive, or with social media, this person's sensitive, whatever. It's like comedians of the Comedy Cellar that pretend to be these tough guys will still choke people out for making a joke about that. Like a spindly little guy like Mark Normand made some jokes about Sherrod Small, and he went up to him and fucking choked him out after. A young comedian at the time.
Out?
I get that's the way they depicted it. That he like fucking put his hand around his throat.
Okay, well, look, that's different than choking someone out, dude, to the point of unconsciousness. That's a little bit more advanced.
Yeah, no, you're right. I don't think it was to that level. You're right. But
I'm not
yeah,
gonna sue anybody or anything. I hate all that shit.
Yeah.
Let's just work it out like adults.
Yeah.
We can work it out.
There you go. The mule kick. Oh, I
Try to
remember when I was
be in
doing
my
the
way.
shit talking on stage. Godfrey was on the floor, slapping the floor, going, you fucked up. You fucking up, man. Like he was like trying to warn me, like you're done. He's gonna kill you. And I thought I was killing with Godfrey. I was all like, hey, I'll keep it going.
Imagine Godfrey being the last thing you see, slapping the floor.
And that encourages you, like, all right, I'll keep going then.
All right, well, let's do this.
There was a great on Patreon. We just rewatched the roast of Rich Voss, and Bob Kelly makes a joke about Godfrey fucking Bonnie McFarlane, Voss's wife, and Anthony Cumia yells from the crowd, "Don't worry, Voss, it was Gilbert," which was a very funny line. But yeah, I thought it was. I just wanted to play that because I thought for any of you comedy fans out there, I thought it was interesting to finally get that story out there.
I'm
Now-
a big fan of comedy.
Well, then hopefully you found it interesting. I don't know.
You know, actually, right now, my favorite comic is a guy named Matteo Lane.
Is that right?
Yeah, I like Matteo Lane because we're covering a lot of his cooking, and then I've seen just some of his stand-up. Very comfortable.
Oh,
you know?
interesting. I don't
Yeah.
know any of his stand. I've heard him as a guest on podcasts. I think he's like, okay, if it's a podcast I like already, I'll listen when he's on. I've
Yeah.
never sought him out, but is his stand-up good?
It is. It really is. Very punchy. I mean, he's very with it, does some great crowd work, and he speaks like 5 languages.
I knew that.
So-
Yeah, he's very, very talented guy. He's a great singer. He's
Yeah.
jacked. I know that.
He's cooking on the shows. So, we covered like he actually makes the real fettuccine Alfredo, as I do the John quotes here. I'm doing some quotes.
yeah.
So he has the his own cooking show. So he shows you the real methods, and then he has some trips in Rome where he'll show you how to really order coffee in Italy. Really interesting.
Check out Matteo Lane, guys. I don't know.
Yeah,
Jared Freed just put out a special, and I've meant to. Maybe I'll do it today. I've meant to write a review and put it on Patreon. Jared Freed put out a Netflix special that was actually like very good for people have messaged me before and said like, hey, oh, you know what we were talking about is Matt Rife, how successful Matt Rife is.
Mm-hmm.
And people will message me and be like, God, my girlfriend likes Matt Rife. Like,
I've never even seen him, and I've heard his name, so he must be doing well.
He's doing very well, but he's got no material. His material is very bland, but he's super successful because he's like a young guy that does crowd work, very handsome.
A good-looking guy, yeah.
Very good.
Yes, he is fabulous to jerk off to.
Well,
he's gorgeous. Well, let's not mince words here. He's hot as hell.
Borderline
he is the prettiest woman comic I have ever seen.
So people have messaged me and been like,
lady.
should like I take my girlfriend to his show just to get her into comedy in some way? And a guy I think is a good example of that is Jared Freed, where like he's kind of comes off as like a frat guy that you can get along with. Like there's a splash of douche in him, but like he's all right. He's a funny guy and everything. You feel like you could hang out with him, and he does a lot of like relatable dating material and everything. It's not the most like unique at least as far as topics. It's not the most unique shit you've ever seen in the world. But like if you're trying to get your girlfriend into comedy or something, check out Jared Freed 37 and Single. I thought it was actually very good on Netflix. But anyways, enough of that. Hackride, what do you think? Should we?
Tom Myers needs a little.
You're producing today. Should we go to Tom Myers?
Christina P has some good stand-up.
Christina P?
Yeah, she's pretty good.
I don't love her stand-up, to be honest with you.
Yeah. Well,
But I'll tell you whose stand-up I like.
Yes.
Let's play some Tom Myers. Hackride, you don't think it's putting people through too much to go back to Tom Myers after last week's episode?
Are you a fan of Tom Myers?
You can never have enough.
Oh, I mean, I'm a big fan of Tom Myers. You don't know that? You don't know this lore?
I do not. I do not. This is the new one to me.
Okay. So Tom Myers, I'll catch you up. Tom Myers, we went to support his comedy down in Havre de Grace, Maryland. And boy, did we support.
Are you in this video as well, is what you're saying?
I'm not in this one. I'm not in this one. I was last week, technically.
Okay.
But Tom Myers and Dat Fan put on a show. And Dat Fan called us a group of incels and tried to have us removed for cheering too loud at other comedians.
What?
Yeah. So we forged a beef with Dat Fan. We're not too happy with Dat Fan.
Well, I mean, he's somebody who's been doing it forever. Why would he even? He's one of the ancients on the friggin' carved in stone on
because
the
he's a cunt.
wall.
He's an unconfident, valueless cunt. Who's never written an original joke in his life.
Well, I mean, the only reason he's in that stone is because he's Vietnamese. So let's just,
Well, you think he's Vietnamese? You should listen to his mother talk. Oh, it's wacky. So Hackride reached out to Tom Myers not long after this because we built a bridge with Richard Ojeda. We made sport of Richard Ojeda in the past. Richard came on, poked fun at himself, and now we are Team OJ all the way. We are big Ojeda guys here at the Blind Mike Project. And we said, why not build that same bridge with Tom Myers? Tom Myers essentially told Hackride to go fuck himself and talk to his agent.
Yes. An agent that I am still convinced does not exist.
Probably so. So Tom Myers now, and he called us out for playing his clips without his permission.
Oh, no.
So I said, well,
he doesn't understand.
Let's play some clips that Tom Myers gives us permission to use because he posted this on YouTube himself. Now, I have to say, I have to give us a few demerits here because I gave me and Justin and the rest of the Havre de Grace 5 a lot of credit for being the first fans to go out and support Tom Myers. I don't think that was true because Tom Myers posted this 11-minute video on his YouTube page. And there are fans there that at least one that yelled Tom Myers. There are people that go out to Tom's shows to support him. So I may have fast forwarded a little bit in the video
Well,
after that applause and seen once that first applause dies down a little bit. This is kind of what you get at a Tom Myers show. So, Tony, you said you're a fan of stand-up?
I am.
Buckle in, my friend, because you're about to be wowed with Tom Myers' latest material.
By the way, I just put in the private chat for you guys. I just sent you a link to a bunch of Creative Commons clips of Tom Myers. That.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah. Do you know about the Creative Commons filters and all that shit?
I don't think so. Tell me.
Okay, so if you go in the search bar and you search, say, Tom Myers,
Yep.
then hit search, you'll see a bunch of things. Go into the filters, hit Creative Commons. On that topic, you're going to see all the videos that you don't have to worry about any copyright shit for.
Oh,
That is amazing.
that's good to know. That's good to know for future use. Thank you, Tony.
Yeah, you won't
Yes.
get strikes or anything about, or any complaints or liens.
That's good to know for why you're laughing, too.
Mm-hmm. It's called
You
Creative
have-
Commons in the filter.
All right.
You have just paid for your visit here, Tony.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
All right, let's
I
get
bring
Tony.
frankincense and myrrh.
I'm curious. Also, by the way, if you're still listening to this point, let me know. Give me a grade on Hack Ride's performance. I think it's an A so far, honestly. Give me a grade on Hack Ride's performance, Tony's performance, and let me know, should these guys just replace Craig? That's the real question today. Let me know in the
Never.
comments.
B-. I have room for it.
I've been in this business for 30 years.
Well, that's the thing. We haven't even scratched the surface on Tony yet. He's got a tale with Scientology.
Oh,
that
boy.
We'll hopefully get into a little bit, but let's
Sure.
hear from Tom Myers first.
Mhm.
One of these days, we're
We'll
going to
hear
get
from
to
him
Tom Myers.
eventually. Tom Myers, ladies.
All right,
and
A
gentlemen.
minus. And ladies and gentlemen,
What is going
Tom
on? Are you not
Myers.
hearing it? Are you not hearing it?
no, no, no.
Hold on. It has been muted.
Oh.
Here we go. Hold on.
I like that Hack Ride thinks I'm just doing some unintelligible
Yes.
bit.
Yes.
Hey, while we're pausing here, my girl's on the way to the airport in Tampa. Just give me 1 second.
Yeah, no problem.
Of course.
1 second. I'm just going to mute.
I will remove you so you can deal with that. I will watch. Give me a high five when you're ready to go. Sorry about that, blind Mike, but it appears that it is good for timing anyway.
No worries, buddy.
And yes, this thing that he sent us with the Tom Myers is very cool. Because
Yeah, that's
if
interesting.
yes. Oh, there's a ton of stuff that you haven't. I will send you the link.
Excellent.
It's also in the private chat.
Thank you, sir.
We are at 1 hour and 56 minutes. So I don't know. Hold on 1 second.
Do you want to go into the Little Mirror stuff, or I can postpone that until whenever? Like, we don't have to do that stuff because I have 9 clips of that shit. Or we can talk about the Scientology with Zero Dark, which would probably be better.
Yeah, probably with him just because he's here and he won't, you know what I mean?
And of course, and you know, he's interesting as hell. And these Little Mirror clips, like they're funny and interesting, but they're evergreens.
Yeah,
you
we can
kinda-
play him next week or something.
Exactly. So let's just get to him. If you want to end with something like kind of funny after the Scientology stuff, I do have like a little sort of thing I made. It's not a cartoon because I didn't really have time for that, but I can do a little back and forth comedy battle to see what it's like between you and Ojeda or you and Ojeda. And so I have a little pop-up screen that comes up, and then I got a little I'll give you the first one just to see. If you want me to do it, then mention it. If not, then
Okay.
don't.
All right. Cool.
Yeah, but I'll give you the first one just so I just went and stole one-liners, so it could be like,
My girl and I were happy for 20 years. Then we met. I come from a stupid family. I
sorry.
come from a stupid family.
sorry.
Oh, so it's me. I get what you're saying. It's
Yeah,
my
so-
girl and I were happy for 20 years. Then we met.
So many
Okay, that's
homophobes
fine.
turn out to be secretly gay that I'm nervous. I'm secretly a giant spider.
So it's you and him going back and forth with one-liners. So that could be
Okay.
kind of funny just to end the show on a lighter note, you know?
Yeah. Okay, that works.
But if not, then just end it, you know?
Cool.
I just had that just in case we wanted to do something.
Perfect.
Okay, and Zero Dark is back and unmuted.
Beautiful.
Unmute.
Or is he?
Can't unmute guests because they chose to mute themselves.
Oh, okay.
Muted me. I muted me. There we go.
You're back.
There we go.
Mhm.
Okay, let me
All right.
get this back on here.
Can you imagine, by the way, one of these just real quick, a female Scientologist being upset by this. That's gonna be a funny story. Yeah, I can't wait. Do you like him? Do you like his comedy?
Tom Myers?
Yeah. Or is that not the point?
You know what? Let's start. Let me know when you're ready to go, Hackrad, and re-ask that question.
Okay.
2.
All right, so we're back here. What were you saying, Tony? What was your question?
Are you a fan of his actual comedy, his stylings, his work?
Tom Myers?
Yes.
How about this? We'll play a little game here. We'll play Tom Myers comedy, and let me know when you've decided what I think about him. I'll try not to react either way.
All right.
I love Amtrak. You know why? Because of the quiet part.
You do not. Right now.
Someone wants to sit next to me and tell me the
What gave it away? Come on.
Oh, train jokes, I guess, right out of the gate. Oh, boy. And the shirt and the jacket, the way it's coming in is Perry. Very Parish.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
So, all right, let's hear from Tom Myers. He's talking about Amtrak. He's taking the train.
Oof.
Life is like a box of chocolates. I want to enjoy them in peace and quiet. So shut the fuck up.
Ooh.
But
That gets so he's got
Amtrak
his people there, and it gets nothing.
That was very awkward. Hey, I just got a freaking chill that came across me.
I'm actually glad you don't know Tom Myers, Tony. This is interesting because now you get to see, you're getting a firsthand look. While we're doing this hack ride, could you pull up Tom's most famous joke? Would that be possible? Without giving away the punchline?
Absolutely.
Thank you, buddy. We'll play that for. This is very interesting. We'll show you a joke in a bit.
His audience to shut the fuck up.
We'll show you a bit that puts that put Tom on the map. But first, let's continue to hear this comedy that Tom just posted.
Amtrak's really weird in a way because they make these announcements at every single stop. They say, "We know you had a lot of options for your travel, so we thank you for choosing Amtrak for your rail travel." Like, what were my fucking options? There's no Jim's train trips. Like, that doesn't exist. There's no Hank's railway journeys, hair and nail salon, and used cars. No, Amtrak
Name
is
a few
the
more
only
big
option
names.
for my rail travel. But Amtrak.
But that is a deafening silence.
Yeah, but also Theo Vaughn could say these exact same words and make it hilarious.
You're
You know
not
what I
wrong
mean?
in that a lot of it is Tom's delivery. Where yes, if he was in a more absurd character,
Oof,
there's
his
something
timing is
about
like-
Tom that could be funny.
He's like, his timing is like he's trying to tell the jokes while he's falling down the stairs. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's weird because in a way, there's aspects of him that are like a polished comedian that you can tell have been doing it for 20 years. But none of that is joke writing ability. None of what I'm talking about is his joke writing or even his delivery. Or like, so Tom's signature move is to pack as many words as he can into both the setup and the punchline.
Mm-hmm.
So he's tremendously wordy.
Travel. But Amtrak, they advertise they have Wi-Fi, and they actually have Wi-Fi, not like Megabus.
Oh, he's
You
about
ever
to
try and
eviscerate
ask for
Megabus.
Wi-Fi on a Megabus, the driver will just be like,
There go his comps.
"We don't have it on the bus. We just have it in the office. Now set your skinny ass down. The fucking bus is moving."
He does
That's
these
how they greet you
impersonations.
when you get on the Megabus, by the way.
3 drunk people
Okay,
who like
sir,
yelling
but,
have
all of your
laughed.
tattoos are
This is like a
misspelled,
6-year-old who has a mean bus driver
How
and
many
is
people
doing
are in this room?
impression for like the adults at a holiday party, and it's like, haha, well, we don't know your bus driver, but yeah, very good. That's good, Tom.
How many
That
people you
sounds
think
just
are
like
in
him.
this room? Where is this gig in Baltimore? Oh yeah, you've
It's-
been to this place.
Well, I don't know if it's this place. It's somewhere in Maryland that he's at. I would guess. Well, you can kind of hear if you listen. I can't hear it now necessarily. If you listen to the YouTube video, you can hear like kibitzing in the
Mhm.
room, like people just the chitter chatter.
I still think you're a little confused about the number of comedy clubs in Maryland, bro. Like you. you're
No,
like,
no.
"Wait, no. There's it's this one, but it could be the,
Oh, Tony,
the cacophony of them.
You're a fool. You're a fool. It's Tom doesn't play comedy clubs. You dope.
Oh, is this a legionnaire?
He's He's at a restaurant right now, interrupting someone's fucking appetizers.
He brings his own curtain for behind him. That's on a. It's like at a home show.
Yeah, no. I mean, there's a chance. Maybe this is at like Magoobies or something.
He looks like he's about to sell me some pans. This guy.
Yeah.
Sir, but all of your tattoos are misspelled, and where are your pants?
And here with the
You're a
Cutco
little
knife
harsh.
collection.
You're a lot harsh than the Chinatown bus. Anybody remember taking the Chinatown bus? Now, a lot of people criticize the way the Chinatown bus drivers drove, but I loved it. You know, the Chinatown bus drivers are the only bus drivers who can make Maryland drivers go, Jesus, what fucking reckless.
It's always oh my god, deafening silence again.
Wow. He just has.
What the hell? Why are we hearing Who Are These Podcasts? Christ,
C plus.
Yeah.
C plus.
I love it. My bus is moving. On a mega bus, the driver will just be like, we don't have it on the bus. We just have it in the office. Now set your skinny ass down. The fucking bus is moving.
Look at the physical
That's how they
comedy when
treat you
he's
when you get on
steering.
the mega bus, by the way. It's like, okay, sir, but all of your tattoos are misspelled, and where are your pants?
So good, I had to hear it
You're a
twice.
little harsh.
Oh, boy.
You're a lot harsh than the Chinatown bus. Anybody remember taking the Chinatown
Is this
bus?
what made him famous? This joke?
No,
Oh,
no.
okay.
You
All right,
want
so
to hear
we're
that?
rolling through it. Okay, let's keep going.
That'll be the big closer here.
Okay.
Yes,
You
I
don't
have
get it
that
all.
whenever
Gotcha.
you are.
Gotcha.
I have that one whenever you.
Excellent.
Well, we can hear a little more of this guy, I guess. Like we're,
A lot of people criticize the way
I don't
the
want to pour
Chinatown
bleach in my ears just yet.
bus drivers drove, but I loved it. You know, the Chinatown bus drivers are the only bus drivers who can make Maryland drivers go, Jesus, what fucking reckless.
He's steering. Yeah, okay. Good.
Hey, a lot of people criticize him, but I love the idea of going from Baltimore to New York in 35 minutes. And you have not.
I was supposed to get a
lived
laugh. It got
until you've been on
nothing.
a bus that's done cartwheels. And gotten a perfect
Whoa,
10.
2 in a row.
This is a
Wow.
deafening silence. And
Oof, man.
remember, his people are in the audience. Someone chanted Tom Myers at the beginning of this set. His people are there, and they can't even support him on this.
I mean, the whiff of those two jokes. Like, he just fucking swung and missed. I felt the breeze from here.
That's
Jesus.
a brutal silence.
Whoa. Oh, I mean, nothing. Not even like the first joke, you heard a fork hit a glass at least.
Yeah.
Okay. The second one was nothing.
Well, that's all right. You get an idea. To know Tom is not improved. He
Oof.
posted that himself on YouTube, so I wanted to play a little bit. We don't have to play all of it.
How long has he
because
been doing this?
20 years, legitimately.
Jesus H.
Yeah.
Christ. He's like, okay.
So this is what I wanted. This is how Tom got on people's radar, because the Come Town podcast, when it was still in existence, would talk about Tom Myers a lot, and they would reference particularly this joke.
Okay.
So Tony, if you weren't laughing before, think
You
about
won't be now.
expand your mind, because Tom Myers is hitting 7-Eleven.
All right.
Hey, Tony, real quick, look at the title of the joke.
No, don't.
No, I see. I can see it.
Okay.
I just wanted him to have that in his mind before he.
Okay.
You guys are really front loading this thing for me.
It's gonna be good.
Baltimore's own comedian Tom Myers.
Love comedian Tom Myers.
Gonna do some stand-up.
Tom
Myers.
Love comedian Tom Myers.
Yeah, I forgot the opener too.
How you guys doing tonight? Everybody having a good time so far?
Fuck is this?
Yeah, I'm in kind of a weird mood myself. I was on my way down here. I stopped at a convenience store. I'm waiting in line to pay, and the guy in front of me puts down a dozen donuts, 2 big bags of Doritos, one of those cheapo 1-gallon bottles of the generic brand fruit punch, and a nasty old rotting banana. And he turns to the clerk and says to him, "My girlfriend just had an operation. She can only eat certain things." I look at him and I go, "Yeah, right. What did she have, a bong hit transplant?"
Oh.
Oof.
Tony, I don't hear that.
It is the joke of the century, and you know it, Tony.
I mean,
Bong hit transplant. Don't you get it?
I'll say he took the long way around to get to that one, but yeah. Oof.
Yeah. He didn't.
And
You're saying he didn't list enough items that were on the counter, right? That's what you mean?
I think there were a few more things there that he left out. I think there were a couple hot dogs and maybe cookies.
Now, Tony, as a stoner, do you ever go for rotten bananas or old bananas or overripe bananas? That is the weirdest thing I have ever heard.
I would never buy an overripe banana unless it was the last one and I knew I was making a smoothie within the next hour.
Well, that's how Tom looks at the world, is like, oh, you must be stoned, so you'll eat whatever, even if it's a dirty old rotting banana, because being high means you're incapacitated, essentially.
What if, and who's to say that she was going to eat the banana? Maybe it's just to keep her throat open.
It's true. Well, she has a diet and she can only eat certain things. I don't know if you heard that part. But all right.
Well, she can only eat certain things, but who knows what the banana was being used for? I mean, bananas are nefarious.
I'm glad we've opened Tony's mind because he can dissect it. Tony does deep dives on a lot of subjects on his channel. Go subscribe, Zero Dark Tony.
Thank you.
And so now we've opened his mind a little bit to Tom Myers. But what I did want to talk about a little bit before we get out of here, we'll merely scratch the surface with you because I know you have a lot to say about it. But essentially, you're a reformed Scientologist, right?
Well, here's the thing. I was at Scientology just for a little bit. I wasn't there for like a long time. I wasn't born into it. There's a show that, but, I also have had a little time, look, my criminal record has been dismissed and expunged, but,
Okay.
I did a little misdemeanor time down in the LA County Jail where Danny Masterson is.
Okay.
So, got to communicating with one of these larger Scientology
Oh,
channels.
so this was somewhat recent, right?
Yeah, within the past 6 weeks. This is, I went on one of their shows. So long story short, I go on the guy's show. Goes
No,
very well.
I'm sorry. Let me correct that. It's not that recent that you were in Scientology, though.
Oh no, the Scientology, that was like in the 90s, bro.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Just wanted to
And
clarify.
I was there for a short period of time. Didn't really get that far up the bridge to the clear or anything like that. I took a couple minor courses. I saw this place as like a day spa.
Right.
I did that purification thing where you're supposed to sit in but I kept having to do it over because I kept getting high.
Mhm.
Right. So, I went there to really just stop taking drugs. They said they could help me. I was recruited by Jenna Elfman and her husband, the actress, on I was working on the Paramount lot and we were all walking out together and, lo and behold, some accident happens right in front of me and they jump into their Scientology mode. And next thing you know, I'm signing up for these courses.
Okay.
It's
Is there
kind
any
of the thing
way?
to
So,
do,
and just if I listen to shit like this, once people I know Scientology, there's a lot of celebrities involved and everything, but once it's just someone, just for the listeners, because I know listening, this is what I would think. I would be skeptical. Is there any way to prove that you were involved with like Jenna Elfman? Because I know Scientologists are very litigious and everything. So is there a way people can verify that or no?
Yeah, if they look close enough and they put a couple dots together, absolutely. Like totally.
So go follow Tony's channel. You'll find everything you need.
Yeah, and I've also made a video about it called My Scientology Recruiter. So it'll tell you kind of like the entire detailed story of what happened there. But so I go on this channel and then I get a bunch of subs out of it. It was great. This guy has like maybe 170K, his name is Aaron Smith Levin. The channel is growing up in Scientology.
Mhm.
And as it turns out, one of their people came over to my channel, left a shitty comment for Dana, like, my research partner.
Right.
And so we respond to that. Then another one of their people who has a channel comes into my live chat and tries to tell people to leave my live chat. I called her a cunt. I said, get the fuck out of here, cunt.
Okay.
And they melted down.
Sure.
All of them melted down because I said the word cunt. Now, a video I did later was showing Aaron Smith Levin, their leader, calling a woman a cunt in Florida. Like there's like everything that they have attacked me for, they have sort of done,
Sure.
So it's a very wild thing because they have essentially left Scientology, formed their own new cult.
Right.
And from what I've, from some of the investigation that Dana and I have done, they have a charity called the Aftermath Foundation that Leah Remini is involved with. And reportedly, and from my findings, they are running a bit of a porky. They're running a bit of a scam.
So Leah Remini is now
in my
involved
opinion, for your channel.
Okay, so we think
Allegedly. Yeah.
we think Leah Remini may be involved in another cult-like, basically religion.
Well, what they did was they left Scientology, but they're all still Scientologists that grew up in there, right? When you leave a cult, okay, so I've talked with some cult experts and things like that, and I've done some videos about them. And when you come out of a cult, you're supposed to leave. You're not supposed to speak with anyone, not talk with anybody from that cult. And these people, imagine being immersed and being a Sea Org member, signing a billion-year contract when you're like 7.
Right.
Right. So these kids had no childhood. They're feral. All right. These are feral children who are trying to operate in the real world as a group of people who don't know how to operate in the real world. They're all Scientologist cult members. They don't know how the real world works.
Right.
So, lo and behold, I get the attacks, the comments, the emails, they're going after my channels, trying to get them deleted, mass reporting them. But being a YouTube partner, you have some advantages of, contact and being able to say, hey, look, this is what's happening to me. Just keep an eye on it. If I break the rules, I break the rules. Right. But I don't have any strikes on my channel or anything. And some people like these goons and just people who all they need to do is turn it off, man. Watch something else. So my point has been to really just rile them up, to pull a Jesse Potoffel, a Patrick Melton, just get them going and riled up because it's giving me so much more content. But my point is that I won't be told what to say on my channel, and I'm kind of a free speech guy,
Sure, but it's also interesting because that, to me, if that's true, would suggest that Leah Remini has been trying to expose Scientology for all of its darkness, but is now involved in like an organization that's doing a lot of the same things.
Yes. What the Scientologists call it is fair gaming. Now, what this group of Scientologists has accused me of, since I don't go along with whatever they say and I'm not part of their thing, is that, that I am... Scientology has an office called the Office of Special Affairs. It's basically like their own little KGB.
Right.
They say that I am one of those agents.
Okay.
So they're attacking me because they think I'm trying to hurt, that I support the Church
But
of
you've
Scientology.
trashed Scientology, haven't
For
you? That's kind of been your,
For sure. I mean, I don't like cults.
Right. So wouldn't that go again? How do they rationalize that?
Well, they rationalize that because they go right back to I'm cursing, my language, I'm lying, it's that diversion. And meanwhile, these people have a charity called the Aftermath Foundation. Now, one of the people that has targeted me is one of the people on the splash page with the testimonials, right? He was one of their rescues. He was a Scientology pet rescue that they helped, get out of there. You're going to have a little editing to do, bro. Sorry.
Oh, you're good. You're good.
But he comes out of there very recent. His father's very famous Scientologist, and he is one of the people that has started to attack me. But you got to understand, there are things that they call auditors,
right,
in Scientology. And I have been I called out Aaron, their leader, who literally went on his channel and said, you know what? Go unsubscribe from him. He went on and then he had Andrew Gold, who's another creator, who's his buddy, come on and try and do the same shit to me. So they tried to tag team up on me with about 250,000 followers, at least between the two, at least, but actually over 350 now that I think of the numbers. And
so Tony,
yeah,
I found a video from the Scientologist. Can I play it?
Sure.
About you? All right.
Oh, from the which one is it? Oh yeah, her. This one.
Yeah, this really
is this recent?
Fun-looking lady right
this
here.
This is the second one that she's. Wait, this is.
Oh, should we play this?
Might be the. Oh, dude. Let me tell you something. We're just getting into this. They have made so many videos about me, right?
All right. Well, let's hear the other side. What does she say about this wiseacre?
Give it up.
So
Let's go.
the title says Zero Doc Tony is very low on the emotional tone scale, which is a scale you do not understand.
Third video that this particular woman has made about me.
Okay.
Yes, she is very concerned about Tony's tone scale.
She's very good.
The reason why we know Zero Dark Tony has never been a Scientologist, he's way too emotional to have ever gone through any of the training.
Who's that fella?
Yes, he is a starting linebacker for the Rams. And it is a very bizarre statement to say that you're not part of our religion. You were never part of our religion. Don't religions want people? It's a confusing religion.
Right.
Also, to say you have too many emotions to have been part of this religion? Are they not recruiting everyone?
Oh,
Well,
you
it's
don't know
almost-
about Scientology, do you, Mike?
I don't. No, I'm sorry.
Man, oh boy.
Teach him, Tony. Teach him. Clear
They will-
those Satans.
They will recruit anyone. They actually have offices and places on Hollywood Boulevard that literally they have people on the street all day. Are you curious? Curious about Scientology? Are you curious? Right? I was there off and on for a couple years. These people spent their entire life in it. Now, in a sense, since I came in through what's called Celebrity Center, I never went through the weird training auditor. I went right to Celebrity Center because I was a working actor. I was working on films and television. They wanted me, you know? I was exactly the type of person that they wanted. Now, I was in this purification with Danny Masterson, with Ethan Suplee, with Catherine Bell, like before they got really famous. I feel like I was part of this graduating class that I left, but if I was stayed in it, I would have been in a much different career position today,
Right.
you know? And they fucked up all my management and all that shit anyway, so.
Right, right.
Is there some resentment?
Tony.
Absolutely. What?
You'd be broke.
You'd be broke, Tony.
Well, I would be broke and I probably would be in prison because they set people up like this Danny Masterson guy. You know, they got to throw someone to the wolves.
Yes.
Oh,
Blind
Danny
Mike,
Masterson was set up. Boy, there's a lot here. So the main
I believe that Danny Masterson was a bit of a sacrifice. I mean, he's fucked up. He's done a lot of fucked up things. He deserves to be in prison, but there are a lot of people there that deserve to be in prison. You know what I mean? That
You
have
need to
done much
understand-
worse than Danny Masterson.
Yes, you need to understand part of their ritual when they get you is to have you tell all your dirty secrets of your entire
Right.
life.
Mhm.
That
And
I
then they
that I
have
know.
you.
That I've heard.
Then they
yeah.
got you.
Then they got you with blackmail.
So I'm not informed or smart enough to really break all of this down. But
Well,
the reason I wanted to,
just another real quick addition to that, brother, is that it's not just your actions. The scariest part is they will persecute you for your thoughts. You haven't even done the shit, dude. You
Right.
didn't
Oh,
even do
yes.
it. So if you thought of, putting your, wiener in something that has 4 legs, you know what I mean? And you
Gotcha.
tell them that, then they have a process for that
very
thought.
specific example. That's interesting. But yes, I
Yes,
get what
they-
you're saying.
Well, just
They
a
do not
extreme
believe in
example.
psychiatry, and psychiatry is examining those exact things, and so they are the exact opposite.
Right. Yeah, so I wanted to have Tony on to tell that a little bit. Also, he had me on his show. We had a nice time.
Yes.
But
You were
yeah,
on
we'll
Ripcast with
only
Corndick. It was a
scratch
lot
the
of fun.
surface today. But basically, I wanted to let everyone know that if you're interested in this conversation, as weird as it is, go check out Zero Dark Tony on YouTube and Rumble and everything because he's
I have
definitely
made
talking
50
about some.
videos about these people exposing all their stuff and their BS, and
It's definitely
I-
interesting. It's definitely
yeah.
worth looking into.
Yeah, it's pretty wild stuff. I mean, I also did a story a couple years ago about the Underground Railroad that just did the Sound of Freedom movie and some of the allegations against them, and that was with Mormons. So I got attacked back then by QAnon and the Mormons. So this is kind of like par for the course for what I do.
Yes, and one of the
Tony's
producers for that, movie just got arrested for child porn as well.
That is right.
There you
That
go.
is correct.
It's all adding up here.
Ding, ding, ding. If you ever want to do a program that talks a little more about cults and things like that, we could do that too.
That's the thing is I'm very interested in it. The problem is we did like 2 hours on fucking Stuttering John.
For
So I
sure.
was like,
I mean, we'll
I
have
could talk to you about this all day because I find it fascinating. But mainly, I
Definitely.
wanted to tell people go check out Tony's stuff on YouTube and Rumble and everywhere else. What's the easiest place to find that, Tony?
I've got them all there on YouTube. Some of them are behind the paywall. I got a $1.99 membership. If you don't have a $1.99, get off the internet. Come join us.
Right. Support Tony. Support
I
Hack
appreciate
Ride.
you guys so much. Thanks so much, guys, for having me on.
Tony, thank you very much, buddy. Thank you for coming on.
I would
Hack
love to
Ride,
have both of you on both of my shows coming up very soon. So we'll stay in touch.
anytime, buddy.
Yes, I think
go
we
follow
should title
Hack
the show "Colts and Dolts" anytime we cover Stuttering John and Scientology.
I'm in. I like that.
Xenu is my cousin, in fact.
lives
Go
in the
follow Hack
mountain.
Ride as well. I'm trying to promote you, goddammit. Let me wrap this thing up. So follow Hack Ride on YouTube right now. Go do it. His show is already up if you're listening to this episode. And go to blindmike.net. That's where you can find all things related to this show, whether it's the free links on Apple, Spotify, YouTube. Who Are These Socials? Why Are You Laughing? The other 2 shows that I do. Subscribe to the YouTube. That helps the algorithm. Subscribe on Patreon. We have YouTube memberships as well. Or if you want to subscribe on Patreon. And because the little rascal is not here and Hackrod may be taking his job, go support Craig. VeryGoodShow.org. And you can check out Very Good Show for free. And if you want to subscribe to his Patreon, you can do that as well. Other than that, I think we're getting out of here, Hackrod. Is that intro music I hear? I like this.
No, this is
outro
music.
rather?
Yes,
Outro.
it is.
Yeah.
It is airy and bouncy, so we can go on with our days like we did something here.
I love it. Your mama is so dumb she refused to give your dad a blowjob because she thought he'd lose his unemployment benefit.